Okay, I'm ready. What number am I? Am I first, second, or I'm not first. Am I second or third?
Actually, do third. I'll do one. I'll do two.
Okay. I'm so scared.
Hello.
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 Yes. Yeah, that was it.
That was it.
It didn't sound nice. Like, why didn't it sound good when I came in? Welcome to Liquid Courage, the podcast where I, Amanda Pereira, sit down with a fellow female artist that I admire and ask them the questions I've never had the guts to ask them before. Sounds scary? Well, it is. So I use a little liquid courage in the form of their favorite drink. We cheers, chat, and connect as I attempt to soak up all the wisdom these women have to offer. Today I sit down with Nicola and Rosie Dempsey of the musical comedy duo Flo and Joan. And since I have two guests on the episode today, we all enjoyed two drinks. Some very British English breakfast tea and some also very British gin and tonics. Originally from England, Flo and Joan are a musical comedy act made up of sisters Nicola and Rosie Dempsey. They've been featured on BBC's Live at the Apollo, in the 2019's Royal Variety performance, and have performed 4 years in a row at Edinburgh Fringe Festival. You can listen to all three of their albums on Spotify and Apple Music, and if you have Amazon Prime Video, check out their comedy special, Alive on Stage. Seriously, it's hilarious, and both of them are so fun to watch. I met both of them while they were living in Toronto years ago. Rosie was one of the funniest and most enjoyable improvisers to watch, and Nicola was one of the most brilliant and enjoyable musical directors to work with. Chatting with them, I couldn't stop laughing, and it ended up being quite a long conversation. So for the audio-only version, I did cut it down quite a bit. So if you're looking for more of an unedited version, head over to the Liquid Courage Podcast YouTube channel and watch it there. So Nicola and Rosie are both musical comedians and women I admire immensely. You know, when I was thinking of this, I was like, because I was going to be like, I am actually friends with you guys. And then I was like, well, don't say that because then they could say we're not. And then I look like an asshole. But I was like, I kind of can't believe that I'm friends with you guys because I'm such in like awe of your talent and I love your brains that I'm like, no, we're not actually friends. Are we friends? We're not actually friends. And I'm going to keep going because you're not good. Yeah, I'm not giving you an opportunity to answer. I just thought that going into today, I was like, no, I'm actually friends with them, but I'm still like so intimidated by them because I respect them so much that like I again nervous peed like 7 times before this podcast, and I
feel like
Amanda,
you've seen us at enough bad points that you should definitely not respect us.
I feel like you've probably seen me naked peeing 7 times,
and you've seen me have like full panic attacks. So I don't think either of us deserve any respect from you or anyone in general.
Well, listen, if you're willing to be that vulnerable in front of somebody, I think that's really admirable. So I respect you more. That's what you're like.
That's nice.
No, I need therapy. It's fine. I'm in it. I'm in therapy. It's fine. The first time I have 2 guests on the pod, so we're drinking 2 drinks. Okay, so yes, I'm wearing overalls and red lips.
You're wearing Flo and Joan costume.
I'm wearing Flo and Joan costume, basically. And then also, when you guys moved from Toronto back to the UK, at one point you invited, like, I don't even know why, but a bunch of us came over on like the last day, and you had a bunch of stuff that you were giving away, aka as garbage. You weren't giving it away.
I can't believe the audacity of it.
I saw it as a yard sale.
It was, what do they call it? China, what's it when you throw elephant?
Elephant, what's it called?
Bric-a-brac.
What's it called? Something elephant.
Something elephant store. You must have it. You must.
What? An elephant store?
It's this thing, it must be UK, it's this thing where everyone, so like a village fair, in like an English town, if you don't like your crockery, you bring it to the field and you let people throw balls at it to smash it.
I think it's up.
White elephant store?
I think
like
so.
STALL, like you're literally like.
Are you now spelling everything for me?
S for sugar. You just throw balls and it smashes all the plates. You don't win anything, you just get the joy of smashing up.
I mean, that's great. I thought it was gonna be like you could exchange it like a clothing swap, but this is just like ruin it.
That would make more sense, but England is very repressed as a country and needs to smash up China.
That's fair. I mean, hey,
I think it's called White Elephant.
They have it here where you go and you can smash things. It's just not your things. It's like the company's. I don't know.
Is that just someone in an office having a breakdown?
Yeah. That's just that's like Karen quitting on a Tuesday. That's all that is.
That's Karen had enough.
I think it's called like rage rooms. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
I know.
We call them White Elephant at the village fete.
White Elephant.
It's always raining. You put on your wellies, and then you spend money on shit that you don't need and smash up whatever's left at the end of the night.
That sounds
Humans
amazing.
are disgusting.
Yeah, we are. Speaking of disgusting, you put a bunch of stuff out for garbage, and I was like, oh, these are sentimental memories. So one of the things I took from your garbage, and you knew that I took it, like I'm feeling like I need to say that, are these mason jars that I made a gin and tonic in today for us to drink.
That's amazing.
They're so fucking hard to wash. First of all, I get annoyed of you guys sometimes when I'm trying to stick my hand in there. I can't get to the bottom. I made a mistake of making a smoothie in one, and I was like, big mistake.
You got to put that in the elephant wine stall and smash it up. That's done.
After this podcast, I will be shipping this to White Elephant Field in the village, whatever
That's the exact
you
address.
said. Yeah. And then I also took a mug from you guys, but I was like, that's stalkerish to have both of my like glasses be from you. So no, it is, but it's fine. We don't have to make me feel better. But I picked a witch cup because I was like, right from Salem to drink my English breakfast. Yeah.
What is the mug that you took from us?
Oh, okay. Let's also fix the verb. I didn't take it. You threw it out, and
what happened?
I saved it.
We remember the day before we were supposed to leave Toronto. We remembered that our apartment was absolutely full of everything, and we couldn't take any of it home.
Yes.
So we were
in denial.
Fully in denial. So we kept like a fully stocked house. Right up until the last second.
Yeah.
And then like at the last minute we were like, people were like, can we come and visit you to like say goodbye? We were like, yeah, that's really nice. Also, do you want like a dinner set?
Would you like this bag of margarine?
You did. You had like piles of paper, like just blank paper. You had empty binders. Like you had
Christian
so
Smith
much.
Came over. Sorry.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
He came over and we gave him frozen sausage from our
frozen sausage meat. Not even sausages. It was just bags of sausage meat from our freezer.
That's how much we respected all of our friends.
But I do remember, which doesn't really happen a lot here in the UK, is we put all of our stuff out onto the street, like everything, like tables, chairs, hair dryers, shoes, in Toronto. And within 5 minutes, human ants were taking things. People do just come and sniff it out, and they're there, and like all of a sudden half the stuff is gone. We hadn't even got on our flight, and half the stuff had gone. Yeah, impressive, I'd say.
Yeah,
good recycling.
Yeah, and in the UK, you're not allowed to like leave anything out everywhere, so you have to like take it somewhere to dispose of it, like a
White Elephant.
Shop, or you have to take it to the White Elephant, and he collects it in his trunk and then throws it at a wall as he walks through the streets of London. And everyone knows it's White Elephant Day, so everyone stays indoors because they know that they're going to get like a plate whipped at them.
They're going to get picked up. Like if they're feeling like garbage that day, they'll get picked up and just whipped. And you're like, I'm a garbage human being. Grab.
Yeah.
That's actually a really, but because of that, I'm thinking now, like, I don't want to put stuff out there because what if no one takes it? Like my self-esteem would plummet if like no one took my garbage, but like next door all their garbage is being taken. I'd be like, what the fuck's wrong with my mugs?
I did worry that like we'd left everything and then like we'd left an entire house outside our house.
You did. I couldn't see the house.
No, and we just fucked out of the country, and I think someone was moving in the next day, and who knows if that stuff was still there or what was left and what someone else had to deal with, and I do feel guilty about that. Like really guilty.
Do you know who is moving into the house? A pair of sisters.
No, they weren't. Stop.
It was like if with all due respect, I'm sure they were really nice, but they did look like if things hadn't gone right for us in 60 years' time.
Then maybe they needed all your garbage stuff. Like
I
maybe
really like
they
the
were
idea.
and they're like, oh my God, we didn't have extra frozen sausage meat. We didn't have binders, and we need binders.
Or they had it all already because they're us from another time zone, and they were like, "Oh, it's a shame we bought these binders already because we could have just picked up these exact same binders at the start of that while they're loading their sausage meat into the freezer."
I think that's so cool to see someone where you're like, that's me if I go downhill. I don't know why, but I think that's really cool.
Yeah, or me if I go uphill.
Yeah.
I do look at Goldie Hawn to be like, maybe I could be there in the future.
Love it. Who would be yours, Nicola? Who would be your person where you're like, that's me if I go uphill?
Oh, the girl from The Ring.
For sure.
Yeah.
I should preface that as soon as we logged on to doing this before recording, when it logged on, Nicola's head was down. And I was like, oh my God, you look like the girl from The Ring. She's like, I get that a lot.
Thank you.
Okay, you know what? Someone told me once that I look like Hillary Duff before she got a nose job. So that was a great compliment. I was like, thank you so much.
I didn't know that she got a nose job.
I didn't know either.
The most impressed I've ever been with Hillary Duff is there's an episode of Lizzie McGuire where she did a backflip down her school hallway, and I could, in normal TV shows, someone does a backflip and then they land facing away from camera and then it cuts and they turn around and you're like, oh, you didn't do that. But she actually did that, and I remember being a kid and being like, that's really cool that she can do a backflip. Anyway, that's my Hillary Duff story.
Amanda, can we cut that bit out?
Yeah, we can take that
you
out.
said we could cut stuff out.
Yeah, 100%. I'm already gonna cut out the part where I say I acknowledge that someone said I look like her before a nose job. So we'll just cut the whole Hillary Duff.
I've been told I look like Hillary Duff.
You did it like Hillary Duff.
Hey, ma'am, you look like Dillery Bluff. Oh, thank you. When she was in the middle of the nose job.
When she was healing, and you're like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
Great.
Like the moment she woke up from the whatever the injection is.
Also, her personality in that moment when she was groggy from the anesthesia, and she's like, "What's my name?" And you're like, Hillary Gruff. And you're like, Billy Goat Scruff, Hillary Gruff. Oh my
Hillary Goat Scruff.
3 goats in a trench coat is Hillary Goat Scruff. Does a backflip and they all fall over and run away.
Wait, sorry, Amanda, what mug have you got?
Oh, it's a
I
witch.
just showed you.
I bought it.
The one that we gave you.
Just showed you.
Just release the mug.
I know what it is.
I'll let everybody know in the Patreon. I joke about a Patreon. I don't have one, so I don't know why I joke about it. I really should stop. I also don't have one because I can't think of what to offer, which says so much about how I view myself. So anyway, that's fine. The mug that I took from you guys, I didn't take it. Rosie, you put that in my head. The mug that I saved from the Billy Goat Gruff sister and the Ring sister is it's like a pink kind of one, and it has a piano on it.
That was a Christmas present from my mum. That I went back and stayed.
What mug was that?
She just described it. It's a pink mug with a piano on it.
I don't remember that.
It's like a longer, yes, exactly. It's like that. I have, because I was like, oh, that will also remind me of them. I wonder if I took anything else. I think I just took the 3 mason, all the mason jars.
Maybe you could offer those in your Patreon.
On the mug.
Yeah.
We'll give you our old address. Go back there. Tell us what's still there, and then you can offer all of that stuff on your Patreon.
Great. And we'll split it, and I'll just be like, here you go. This is what you get on Patreon. Yeah, that's great. So go to patreon.com or wherever you get Patreon. Go there for garbage mugs. I love that. I love it so much. Okay, so I know you've been asked this a bunch of times, so I'm gonna sum up quickly that. So should I also say? No, I don't need to introduce you. I'm putting an intro on this episode. What is happening to me right now? Okay, great. Hi. Okay, and we're back. Okay, so the name.
Love that.
I've been sleeping very weirdly lately, and really? I literally had to preface to my therapist yesterday, I don't have words. So get ready for lots of guessing today.
Do you know what? It was a full moon. Apparently, full moons bring out different stuff in people.
Well, hot news with your finger.
Fucking the witches.
I'm one of the Astro twins.
And also, I guess I have my witch. Yeah, maybe I'm just getting like witchy. I have my tarot cards here. I have lots of crystals. Like maybe I'm just really setting myself up for weirdness.
It would be funny if the process of becoming a witch meant you couldn't use words anymore. You stop being able to talk to your loved ones and like, well, she's a witch. She's spiraled into a witch.
Is it bad that the first thing I thought of, like, well, you know what? That's very metaphorical for how society treats you. As soon as you become a witch, you have no voice and they don't believe you.
There you go.
And then I'm like, and there goes the comedy from the whole podcast. No, it's fine.
Wait, we can talk about the white elephant again.
Yeah. Bring back the Billy Gruff. Like, we need it. The people need it.
The things that people are laughing at.
Yeah, go with that.
Everyone at home is like, I skip 10 seconds, skip 10 seconds, skip 10 seconds.
They're at the end and they're like, meh. Okay, the cat.
Still on the goat thing, yeah.
Still talking about goats. Okay, so I know that you named yourselves Flo and Joan after your grandma and your grandma's sister. Mm-hmm. And I'm curious, like, what was your family's reaction when they heard that? What did they think?
I think Mum thought it was sweet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Flo and Joan were like very, well, one is still alive and one isn't, but they're kind of like very loved. They're a fun duo already. So it wasn't like we were taking the mick out of them or anything. We had to double check with Joan quite a few times. Flo passed away quite a while ago before we started doing this. But we rang Joan quite a lot to say, just to double check, are you sure you're okay with this? And we'll send her like our songs and videos and things like that, just to be like, just so you know, it is your name. We can change it at any point.
But at some point it will get too late and we can't rebrand it anymore. So
yeah, I was gonna say, it's like you have to lock in now forever. Like we're still good for the next 10 years. Like how are we?
Yeah. And we're not acting like the Flo and Joan. Like we're not. It is at a point where it's literally just a name. So we're hoping that if we don't do anything, like if we do anything a bit risque, it's not like a reflection on them. I hope the family notice that. It's not really anything. Yeah. Just a name. It's just a name.
Just a name and a sentiment, but not like, yeah, totally. And why, like, did you specifically choose who each of you were?
Not really. Why are you not there?
No. Joe. Yeah, like why is, and you know what? I'm thinking of the song Little Flo and Joan. And that was maybe the first time that I actually was like, oh, like maybe Nicola connects more with Flo. Like, yeah. Do you guys connect more with each one?
I think I'm more like Flo, I think, and you're more like Joan.
Yeah.
But only because Flo was like this is going to sound like a weird brag now, but like Flo was quite small and tiny. And Joan is just taller. I think that's sort of what it came down to.
Like, where are you going with that?
It's a weird brag that my nan was small.
Well, no, it sounds like when you're like, it's because I'm so tiny, where you're like, gross. That's just a weird thing to say about yourself. But Flo is shorter and Joan is taller. Ergo, never used that word before. That's sort of how it happened, I guess. But I think we only did like one show where we tried calling each other Flo and Joan, and it just felt so embarrassing that we were like, we're never doing that again.
We were saying Nicola and Rosie on the stage quite a bit.
Yeah. And people are like, you're like, grow up. It doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't. I think it's actually sort of nice to have a name that you're a bit separate from. I actually think that distance is sort of nice. I don't know. But I think I would prefer it. And what's like, okay, because I know you guys, but I'm still curious, how similar is the real life dynamic between you two? Like in real life versus your stage dynamic of Flo and Joan? How similar would you say it is?
I can't remember the last time we were on stage together to know what our
Oh no.
No, that's not true. We were on stage the other day, and spoiler, we were very weird. I say it's fairly similar.
I think we try to be more on the same page in front of an audience, because like one of the kind of double act tropes is that they're like fighting and one's the smart one and one's the ugly one or whatever. I don't know how double acts work.
One's the tiny one and one's the huge one.
There is actually a UK double act called Little and Large, so that's not entirely untrue.
Oh, cute.
They're weird old men. But so I think we're like, what was I saying?
The dynamic. We're like,
we're like
on the same team.
We try to be on the same page in front of an audience, so it's not like a weird warring, like, oh, they're fighting. and then in real life we're not worried about having a little tiff.
I've never really thought about it. We just go on stage, sing this stuff.
We barely talk to each other on stage, really.
We do. We do more now, I think.
Yeah, but we don't interact enough. I don't know. I don't think we interact that much on stage, which must be quite jarring to watch as an audience of a double act that refused to acknowledge that there's another person. Maybe we should have been like really leaning into that all along.
There are some beautiful moments, though. Yeah. But there are some, like, I can think of some beautiful moments where you interact. Like in the sausage song, when Rosie ends up like going out into like a spotlight and you're like, get back here. Like, that's great. That's a great moment.
Actually, we do have a few of those where you're like, just stop talking.
Yeah.
In fact, that's often that is the dynamic, is often me being like, spouting out a bunch of facts that aren't true, and Nicola being like, I don't think any of that is useful. Word.
Yeah. Or Rosie, you being like, yeah, maybe we should start porn together, and Nicola being like, don't ever look at me again. Like that. Yeah.
Like, hey Amanda, I've never asked to start porn with my sister. Don't release that out.
Insert the audio of Little Nibblers now, because 100% you did, and it's on Spotify and Apple Music. What
is it?
I think it's when you're setting up Little Nibblers and you talk about your food blog and you're like, we didn't realize. Oh, it's Finger Buffet, and people thought you were. Someone said they thought you were saying finger blasting.
Oh yeah,
that's what it was. Yes.
Oh my god, I can't believe I allowed that to happen.
It's in the early days. It's okay.
The first album, it's going to have some kinks, so we need to find out.
Not kinks. Don't use that word.
Okay.
So it's this dynamic. Kinks, don't use that word. Okay, great.
Yeah. A lot of let's not, and are you okay? Which I used to say that all the time, like, you okay? And then Rosie came up one day and was like, can you actually stop asking me if I'm okay? Because I usually am, but then it makes me feel like I'm maybe not okay. I was like, duly noted, I'll stop asking you if you're okay. I'll just try and read the room a bit better.
I'll just assume you're okay, and if you're like really struggling, like throw your egg shaker at me or something, and then I'll know to come in and
let's
help.
have a signal.
Yeah. I love that. Well, one thing that I love so much about your songs is like, not only are they hilarious, but I feel like even if you don't mean to, what's important to you and like your value system is so reflected in it. There's always like an amazing message, like even small things. Like I was just, again, rewatching the video of If I Could Change My Body, and which I love.
Me too. It's one of my favorite songs we've done.
Yeah. Oh, I was singing it on the balcony to Bella, my dog, too.
Oh, Bella.
If I could change my, and I was like singing to her. But even small things where like, when it's like I would have boobs and they weren't symmetrical, and I was like, I fucking love these two. Like, I just like hit my mic. I love you so much. Throwing balls at all my Chinaware. I love that so much. Like, just it can be just a joke or a line that shows like your point of view, or it can be a whole song that's like, oh, you thought this was a love song. It is, but we're also commenting on Brexit. Like, it's just brilliant. So I'm wondering, besides funny, how do you hope people describe your music?
Oh.
You thought you were getting in for a light podcast, gals.
Oh, I think they describe it as absolutely fine.
I hope people describe it as funny and fine.
Funny, and we made it. We got to the end. I actually don't know. I hope. Someone once said it. It makes adults feel giggly, or like adults tap into like a mischievous, giggly part of their personality that you often don't get when you're adults, which I've thought about a few times. At a friend of Ash's, I think. Like, it makes adults feel a bit childish, but childish in a fun way, not in like a kid's song kind of thing. Yeah, I hope a little bit mischievous sometimes. I don't really know.
I think like not just like good music where the bonus is that it's funny, or like no, like the funny is definitely the most important thing, but I think like often with musical comedy you can like compromise one for the other. So like it's like the lyrics are like interesting but the music is dog shit, or the music is amazing but you're like, you said this is musical comedy and it's sort of mildly amusing but it's not like funny. So I think like the music being like good to listen to alongside, like the music being as the music being as good as the lyrics are funny.
Mm-hmm.
I think. Yeah,
that's great. I totally feel all of those things. I feel like it makes me feel mischievous. And absolutely, I was raving to my mom the other day about like, how are they able to be funny? And then also like, look at all the genres they're tapping into. And like, oh my God, did you hear the sex robot one? Like, I was just like, like the music is so good. I was singing Little Flo and Joan. Genuinely for a week, it was stuck in my head because it's so beautiful. I also cry every time I that song. It's so beautiful.
How is your mum?
Oh, she's good.
Yeah.
She's doing well. She started racing cars, which is like,
that's amazing.
I know. Like she was like recognized at a race as like, and they like gifted her racing gloves. Like she has her own race car. She's so cool.
That's incredible.
Yes, I know. She started riding a motorcycle like years ago with my stepdad, and then he started like racing cars, and then one day they were like, do you want to do it? And she was really nervous, and we chatted about it, and then she did it, and I was like so fucking impressed. She is,
that's incredible.
Yeah, she's cooler than me, basically. She's like, yeah. Now I'll be like, hey, do you want to have a lunch? I mean, not during COVID times, I guess, but I'm like, hey, are you available? And she's like, I'm free in 2 weeks. I'm like, who are you, Mom? Come back. No.
Yeah, racing is in like crazy, like drag racing kind of stuff, or like Lewis Hamilton racing, Formula One.
Oh, like for fun, but like, is it bad that I don't really know the difference between those things that you just said?
I don't know.
Drag racing is like a little bit more casual, isn't it? But Formula One is like full on high spec.
Like cars. She's not professional. Like she's not getting paid to race, but
is it like round tracks?
I think so, yeah.
Or is it like, and they just put cars into like big rings and they're like, drive it, bitch.
like in Greece when they have like the flag and they like pull the flag down.
That's what I was imagining.
No, it's like, I feel like the difference is like you're either racing on dirt or racing on a road. I don't actually know the difference.
I have no idea.
So she's like in a loop. In a track, a loopy little track, and she goes and like they have teams, and it'll be like her and like 5 other people, and they all have to race, and they take their times versus other groups, like other teams. Yeah,
it's so fucking cool.
I know, it's pretty cool. Like she has like her own race car that she put like Mario character decals on, so she has like Wario and Waluigi on her car. She's just so cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah. She's doing great. How's your mom doing?
Oh, she's good. She's great. No, she's great.
So during lockdown, I've been living. I gave up my flat in January because the lease was up, and we were supposed to be touring until like the end of May.
Yeah.
So when COVID hit, I had to move in with our parents. It was great. Don't worry about it. And our mum, who's a wonderful woman, decided that during lockdown would be a great time to take up learning the trumpet. So my answer to how is she will be vastly different to how Rosie's answer is to how is she. But in general, she's like great.
She's great. She's doing good spirits.
She's doing well.
The trumpet can sound great, I think, when you've mastered it, but I'm trying to picture it like when you're trying to, and I feel like it's just like gross fart sounds, isn't it?
It's just fucking loud and bad, with all due respect.
There's no respect there.
Absolutely no respect. We played a game where we we would get her to record, like to play songs and get people to guess what the song was that she was playing, and the spectrum of answers was wonderful.
It's so funny though, because after she finishes, you just see her face be like,
oh no.
She's like laughing at the end. Yeah, now she's actually got really good.
Yeah, she's not like gonna pipe in the royal family anytime soon.
She's not blowing in the Queen to Buckingham Palace.
Palace with the Billy Gruffs.
Yeah,
Billy Gruff Palace. That's where we are. That's fabulous.
Because she's improving, so yeah, she's good. She's good.
Oh, go mom! Well, hey, maybe she does like a little camo on one of your songs. Should I not write a song? There?
We wrote a song for her called "The Trumpet Girl."
Yeah.
But she wouldn't. We would like secretly give it when we were doing sort of like online gigs and stuff. We'd slide it to people to be like, "You can play this," and then she'd get upset that people were like laughing because the whole gig is like, she's this amazing. It's like the Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy essentially, but the Trumpet Girl. But then it like cuts to her being like, which we found very funny. And then I think she just got a bit self-conscious, which I get, but then we'd like go on and do like other online shows, and then people would like type in and be like, how's the Trumpet Girl? We're like, okay. Like, entirely different things.
Yeah.
We
it grew into
this woman.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
it's
over.
like t-shirts and merch and whatever.
I would buy Patreon. Let me listen.
There we go.
Flo and Joan garbage mugs, and also Trumpet Girl merch. There we go. Little pins that like when you press them, they go like boo or whatever. That was my trumpet.
Our mum's traveling the world to like Egypt and Vietnam, playing for the troops. Are the troops still in Vietnam?
I thought you were going to say the troops still in Egypt.
Are they still in Egypt?
I don't know. I feel like this is not a conversation that we're skilled enough to get into.
Where are them troops at?
Where are they at? Well, I wonder, like, maybe you got your trumpet skills from her, because I remember, Rosie, you like play like a mouth trumpet in one of your songs.
Yeah, I do.
And the moment you do, I remember being like, holy crap, that was good. Like, in the moment, I was very impressed.
Amanda, you're a super fan.
I am.
Super fan.
Okay, wow. Just shove me down.
Yeah, don't be so rude.
No, it's a nice thing. But I also forget that you probably saw all the songs from the very beginning.
Yeah, like the worst of the worst.
So whether you'd want to be a super fan or not, you are one.
I am.
Because you know us too much.
I fell in love with you guys. I actually can, in the first album recording, like on Spotify or Apple Music or whatever, like I can hear myself laughing in some of them, and I'm like, oh God, and I have to press next because I'm like, ooh, I just skip a little bit because I'm like, but I can also hear other people laughing. Like I was recognizing Susan Wasick's laugh, and I was like, oh, Susan, like I can hear people laughing. It's really nice, actually.
It's nice. I remember when we got the audios back, and you hear people laughing at them, and there's an Anne Purnell laugh somewhere that really makes me chuckle when I listen to it. I mean, I don't go back and listen to my music, but at the time when we had to check it was okay.
Or if it like skips through iTunes every now and again, you're like, and then you hear someone laugh, you're like, oh, that's this person.
It's like when people are in your audience and that you hear a laugh and you're like, oh, thank God they found it funny. Like, it's like, I like having people in the audience that I know.
When I would perform, perform improv in a show, and if Rosie, if you were in the audience, because I could hear your laugh, I would feel that. I'd be like, oh, okay. Because yours was a laugh that was distinct, that I was like, okay, Rosie laughed. Okay, we're good. Like there are a few laughs that I can like pick out in my head where I'm like, oh, okay, you can relax a little bit. It is nice. It's comforting. Yeah, what would you say is like your most underrated song? Like that maybe you guys love, but you're like, why is this not getting the attention it deserves? Like this is such a good song.
There's a song that I don't know if it's the same one. You look at me like, why are you still talking? No. Yeah, it's okay. Why do you have this? It's a song that always worked in Toronto, and we tried it in the UK, and they just they don't have the stomach. Not the stomach. They're just like, this is a waste of my time. Oh no! And it's a song called "Have You Ever Tried to Hide?" And it's my favorite song in the world. And even when I listen to it, actually, that's a song that if it ever comes on my iTunes, I will listen to it only because you can hear like so many distinct people laughing at it that I like listening to that, not the song, the people. But we've like tried it here a couple times, and they just are not interested in it at all, and it makes me so angry at those audiences that I'm like, fuck you, you don't know anything, you laugh at the word Brexit, you can suck a dick, like you basic bastards. I respect my audience
with all due respect. Yeah.
Thank you so much for paying £95 for a ticket, but fuck you, that was genius.
We will never play a gig where it's £95.
No, that was very much a joke. We're begging people to come to shows.
I actually think that song only works though with young. I have British friends who really like that song, but they're my age and like my sort of our humour. I think it is an older audience. It's a little bit like, what's this obscure code that you're trying to reel?
And it doesn't sit alongside anything else that we do. I don't think.
But that's why I think it's often funny, is because.
But that's as in like older audiences are like, wait, go back to songs about that thing that I know. And so when you throw that in, they're like, I'm sorry, I don't get. I'm gonna go get a beer. I'll see you in 4 minutes, or however long this fucking gong show goes on for.
We also wrote another one.
Yes,
that was. This isn't
underrated.
This isn't underrated. Wait, in what way?
As in. The question was, what do you think is the most underrated song? I don't think this song is underrated. I think we really rated it, and universally across the board, everyone went, you need to not spend time with each other anymore.
Okay, so this is a song where like you guys love, but everyone else hates it.
Yeah, there wasn't even like people with a similar sense of humor that were like, oh, that's a funny song.
What song?
It's the premise is an old Victorian woman looking out of her window, very sad and very scared.
She's probably wearing a lot of lace.
Yeah, wearing lots of lace. Looks a bit like Queen Victoria, but more shriveled and probably a lot more thinner. Probably less
Miss Havisham vibes.
Miss Havisham, yeah. So she's looking out the window, and the song is called "What Terror This Day Will Bring."
And we got the title from the song by pulling a Bible off a shelf and flipping the pages around, and then going. And we're like, that's the title of this next song.
We were like, what's a big book that everyone knows?
What's a big book that everyone knows?
What's the iconic line from the Bible that everyone loves? What terror this day will bring.
And our finger literally landed on what terror this day will bring. We're like, oh, that's amazing.
There is a God.
It's really...
He's listening. He is a man, and he's listening.
And he loves musical comedy.
He loves,
and it's really, really slow. And I bought, vibra slaps. Do you know those percussion instruments where it's like a ball on the end of a stick with another stick underneath it, and you whack it in. It's like, yeah, more like a woody.
I thought that was just like a sound effect you get from a computer.
No, it's a real thing.
That's great.
It's a real thing that I bought. I spent money on, thinking this is going to be the funniest.
At the village fair, you're like, don't throw balls at that. I want that.
I need it.
I ran in the balls and I grabbed it. Yeah.
Covered in bruises.
No, well, what happened was we tried the song, it didn't work. We tried it again, it didn't work again. So I sent it back to Amazon. It was like,
what did you put? You know how you have to put you have to put a reason why you're returning it.
I said it wasn't the funniest joke I thought it was going to be. And then Jeff Bezos rang me up and said, I'm so sorry that happened to you.
Do you want a special instead?
Would you like an Amazon special? Yeah. I said, no, we don't. Not right now, Jeff.
Oh my gosh. So you tried, you're like, what this song needs is one of these bouncing ball things.
Yeah, it would be a really long verse of her singing, or like the chorus. We'll sing the chorus to you now if you'd like. Okay, 3, 2,
I would love that.
What terror, what terror, what terror this day will bring.
And then on the piano, Nick would go, ba, 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 bum. I was like, if we do that, we'll do it twice, and then on the third time, I'll accidentally...
You did that whole thing twice?
We did a verse, chorus, so at the end of each chorus,
okay.
slap the vibra slap.
Okay.
So verse, chorus,
but we also
chorus.
sang what terror this day will bring. We sang twice.
Oh yeah.
So
that's why I wonder, you sang that whole thing
twice, and then we go to the next verse.
Yeah, okay.
As
if it's too fast for someone to catch on the first time, in case you missed what we were saying.
Yeah,
exactly.
One of my favorite lines. So basically what kept on happening was really bad things kept on happening to this woman. I can't remember what the first bunch were. One of them was, I open something, my eyes rolled into the back of my head, so now I can only see my thoughts. And what terror this day will bring. And the final biggest joke was that she pulled back the sheets where her kids were sleeping, and there were onions there. And then she was like, oh no, when my neighbours asked for, my neighbours were making a curry and they needed some onions, I accidentally gave my kids. Like,
oh wait, and they gave you onions and then they needed onions, so they took your kids.
It was, I don't know what it was. The neighbours asked her for,
it was, what was it?
No,
the chorus
she needed.
I must have given my neighbour my children to put in their curry. What terror!
And then on the very last bit, I would go to smack the vibra slap and miss it. I was like, if this doesn't bring the house down, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what else I can give from my soul.
This clown has no more tricks.
Oh my God. I actually love that you miss it. I'm realizing these overalls are too tight as we're laughing. They have no stretch. I regret that part of them. Oh no, you're so kind. So considerate. Oh no. I love that you would miss it. It's like, not only is this Victorian chick just having the worst day, like, oh, now it's coming out on us. Now we're having the worst day. Why do you think? Why do you
and then
think
the audience in turn were going, no, we're having the worst day.
Oh my God, there you go. So maybe it was working perfectly. You know, when you watch movies and you're like, oh my God, watching this movie, I feel claustrophobic. But then you realize it's a show about people like trapped in a cave. So you're feeling what they're feeling. Maybe the audience, maybe you didn't intend to, but the audiences are feeling
the woman is
lady.
Yeah. She's the metaphor for the audience. That's
the big
maybe you just... Maybe you just need to add in the end of the song that like her curse comes out, and that's why you're all having an awful time listening to this
tiny comedy club.
That's quite funny, actually, Amanda.
Rosie, we can't rectify this song. It universally did not work.
Oh, we'll see.
We'll
see on the next show.
Well, listen, again, record it. Patreon. This is basically a Flo and Joan Patreon that I'm just like, Liquid Courage.
Give us $10 to never hear that song.
Yeah.
For $100 a month, you'll never have to hear that as a Victorian woman ever. Oh my God, that's so funny. So, okay, so that's interesting. How do you feel Toronto audiences differ from other audiences? Because now, like, you've played in UK, you've played in New Zealand, Australia, like all over the place. So how do you think Toronto audiences differ?
Well, we'll have rose-tinted eye glasses.
As opposed to bum glasses.
Okay, listen, Villery Gruff, let's get our thoughts together.
Rose-tinted glasses.
We have rose-tinted eye
just rose-tinted
microscopes.
glasses.
Because we had so much fun doing all this stuff. Because there was no pressure on us. It wasn't our job. It was just everything was for fun. So if you got any laugh, you'd be like, oh my God, Toronto, love it. And now here you're like, oh, you feel like you've really got to, I mean, it's our job now. So you don't want to fail at your job. Oh, as I shake my forehead, you don't want to fail at your job. But I felt like Toronto, well, we were also spoiled as well. Most of our audiences were comedy savvy audience, or like either friends or people in the improv groups that were also playing the show. With respect again,
but they were like people you trusted because they were funny. They were funny themselves, so when they found stuff funny, you were like, great, this is amazing. Whereas now in the UK, I don't think most comedians go, you're very rarely playing shows to comedians, you're playing shows to Janet and John who live in the suburbs and they've come out on a Friday night to have a nice time. So they're not like I don't know, they're not always as fun, but then I don't want to generalize it that way. I don't know.
I think it was just different kinds of audiences that we had in Toronto. Yeah, we were spoiled that a lot of them were friends or people that we know, so you could have a good time. Here, like if we're mostly performing to scary strangers that we don't know, who really want something out of their Friday or Saturday night. So you've really got to you can't just try. Have you ever tried to hide? Fling vibra slaps around and expect them to come along on the journey with you.
Have you ever tried to hide? What was it? A large shoe and a smaller shoe. No, you know what? Shoe. One of my favorite ones was a farmer on a farm. I don't know why, but I loved that one. I was like, can you hide a farmer on a farm? Like, is it sad if he just camouflages into the farm? Like maybe that's,
who will run the farm?
Wants to stand out. Who else is on the farm? Yeah.
Overrun by animals.
Is he like hiding himself or is he like,
does he just want a break?
Yeah.
Why do I always make it depressing? And like,
no, it's not depressing. It's the real human thoughts that we all need to address.
Yeah, and you're also making me feel like I wrote something that's like high art and not just the pair of us like lying asleep at 2:00 in the morning being like, what if we put a rabbit in a bag?
Oh no, I remember in that song when you say it's like, have you ever tried to hide? And I don't remember the line, but it's about like Russian dolls inside of Russian dolls. And I remember just and you reference Is it fun being on a podcast where all I do is quote you guys? Like, that must be fun.
It's weird to remember the lyrics that you are quoting, and I'm like, I can't remember what that lyric is.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's fair. I've also been listening to all of your albums on repeat for like 2 weeks. So like, that's also fair.
Thank you.
But yeah.
Thank you. We get the 0.01 pennies from every listen.
Oh.
Actually, probably 0.001 penny. Cent.
Okay, listeners, you don't have to listen to it. Just put it on repeat on silent in the background.
Please.
Yeah.
Please. Please. This is a PSA for Flo and Joan. It's actually not an interview. Like, they asked me and they really need help. We need to
This is children in need, but Flo and Joan in need.
Please come down.
It is such a difficult summer.
Is there any other song that you found either really did well in Toronto and then like you could not make it work elsewhere, or vice versa? Like, it could not hit in Toronto and then you played it in UK and you're like, oh, everybody loves this. Like, what's going on?
I feel like there were two stood out to me. Lady in the Woods, when we did it in Toronto, was like 8 minutes long. And then we moved to the UK, and in our first show, we did the song, we're like, here's a banger for you. You're welcome. Yeah. No one knew who we were. That sounded like I was expecting them to know who we were, but like, as in we were going in absolutely cold and people were like, who the fuck are you? And so we went in with this 8 minutes unaccompanied folk song where people are like, what the shit is happening? Where these small humans playing the recorder at me, and why is it 10 minutes long? And they got to a point like where it would go well for about 5 minutes, and then they were just like, we understand, we get the joke, I don't need this anymore. So we like went from it being like an 8 minute song to depending on how fast we sing it, about 5 minutes. We just felt like the point that English audiences were like, we're done here, whereas in Canada they were like, more, which was great for the ego there, and then horrible, like a cute little come down on the other side. And then on the other hand, Drank Too Much always works well in the UK because we're a bunch of absolute piss heads and everyone is just hammered all the time to like a disgusting level, whereas in Canada you're more restrained and you don't get drunk in the same way that British people do. So I think like the first time we did it, we finished the song and I think we often button the song with this of like, we play it in Canada and everyone was just sort of quite upset by the ordeal that this woman went through on a night out, and then in the UK they're like, oh my god, that was me yesterday. In
Toronto they're like worried for you,
genuinely worried, which is funny. Like, it's just interesting to see those like small differences where you're like, this thing, which is just like, you couldn't do any rewrites on that song. It's just a song where you're like, it just doesn't work here, and that's like fine.
God, that's so interesting. I wonder if Toronto audiences are just in denial. I'm like, that was you yesterday. Like, face yourself in the mirror, Karen. Like, chill. That was you. I picked up your shoe.
I feel like I never saw, like, Drunk England or Drunk UK is like...
You've never seen anything like it.
You haven't. It's hideous. Like...
Have you, like, seen...
Geordie Shore? Are you going to hate me?
Yeah, Geordie Shore. But even like
that on
more traditional English pub culture is like big, bold men ripping their t-shirts off and being like, like punching someone and then necking 18 more pints.
And then like a girl walking past like on her way home, but her skirt has like ridden up way past her bum. I saw 3 girls. I was getting a train home from somewhere the other day and saw, not all women or whatever, but like these 3 girls who must have had like a really great night or whatever, but they like walked past on the train, staggered past, and all of their skirts were like, it was bum here and their skirts were just here, where you're like,
oh no, we're like, that's a little bit of cheek.
Yeah, it wasn't a little bit, it was like a full bum.
That's
and,
a cheek, yeah.
You don't want to like, I was just like the weird woman. I wasn't a weird woman on a train. I was just a woman on a train. Like, but you don't want to be the woman. Like,
that's up for other people to decide what kind of woman is true.
You don't want to like knock on the window and be like, your bum's out, because they would just, firstly wouldn't notice, secondly wouldn't care, and thirdly would be like, stop staring at my ass. What's wrong with you?
Yeah. There's no good way to do that, because I totally, because in my head I'd be like, you know what? If they want their bums to, this is what I would think. I'd be like, do you want your bums to be out? Because if they want them out, I'm like, listen, I support you in that. And then if they don't want them out, it's like, okay, they're out.
Yeah.
That wasn't better. I thought it was genius, and I was like, this isn't any better. Yeah, this isn't. Oh my God, that's so interesting. Well, and then you go to UK and you play Lady in the Woods, and fairly early, I guess, that it's not working, and then you're stuck in it for like 8 minutes.
Yeah.
We just knew we had to sort of like chop it down a little bit and keep it nippier, because we do run the joke too. We did run it for too long. So I think we've got the best version of it now, I think.
That's one of my favorite songs of your guys. When you say, and when you sing, and she produces milk like you've never seen, I die. And I know, because I'm listening to the recording, I know the audience is going to laugh. And I'm so excited for them to hear the joke, even though they've already heard it. Like, it's very meta, but I'm like, oh guys, it's coming up. Like, it's a great joke. And I laugh every time. Oh my God. Little lactate Linda. Love her. Oh my God, I love that. Okay, so again, I know I keep making this like super sentimental, but I did want to say something. So it wasn't until you guys left Toronto and moved back to the UK that I realized, first of all, I realized how much I missed you guys, like when you were gone, which I guess always is the case, you know. You don't know what you got till it's gone, another musical treasure. But secondly, that there were so many times when you lived here that either of you would reach out and be like, hey, do you want to come grab a drink with us? Or like, oh, we're going to be here or whatever. And I realized how many times I like declined the offer or didn't show up. And I was thinking like, why did I do that? And here's what I've realized in some self-reflection here that is not very, doesn't make me feel very good about myself. I realized that the whole time, like deep down, I thought like, oh, they are out of my league as like friends. And I will not be able, I don't want to give them a reason to not be friends with me anymore. And if I go to that party, like, I'm probably not going to fit in, or like, what if I can't make them laugh for the whole time I'm hanging out with them, or whatever? What if I'm not like enough when I hang out with them? Oh my God, no. And then I would say no. And I'm like, that's so stupid. I was already friends with you guys at this point when you were asking me to hang out. And then I lost all this time with you guys. So I was like, oh, I should have just pushed past like my stupid insecurity, and I should have just hung out with you guys more. So I'm sorry that I like didn't show up enough. Like, it sucks. Not that you guys were thinking about it, but like, I love you guys, and I should have showed up more and pushed past me feeling like whatever, push past all my crap in my head and like gone, you know, and come
we all do it.
Yeah,
we all do it.
I also feel like it's one of those things where you also, on the flip side, you invite someone and then you're like, why the fuck did you send Amanda a message being like, do you want to hang out? She obviously doesn't want to hang out. That's so embarrassing. And now you've put her in a position where she has to be like, oh God, do I have to go and do this? Or like, do I just pie them off? Or like, there's always like the opposite side of it of like, I would invite someone to something and be like, what do you think you're doing? Like, in what world do you think this person wants to spend time with you? Or then they would turn up and I would be so embarrassed that they had and that they hadn't cancelled that I'd be like, you can leave, it's fine. Like, we've done it, it's okay.
You're like, now you're a hostage. It's amazing that anybody actually becomes friends. If like I invite you and I'm like, why do you think Nicola and Rosie would want to hang out with you? And then you guys are like, oh my God, I mean, I shouldn't put this on you, but like, then you guys on the other end are like, oh, I shouldn't go. Like, I won't be cool enough. And you're like, how does anyone actually hang out? Like, that's ridiculous. You know, it's amazing.
When you're adults as well, it's still really hard to make friends as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of my nerves as an adult person is if I go to a party and there's lots of other adults there who have their own friends. They're not looking for a new friend, but I'm not often looking for a new friend. I don't necessarily need to come home with a new friend, but I need to be able to talk to someone for a good part of the party time. And then you're like, I'm a burden. These people already have their own friends. They think I'm trying to be their best friend, and they don't need that because they've got their friends from uni here, blah, blah, blah. So you're just looking, it feels like you're often just looking for people to help you pass the time.
You're like, and they think I want to be their friend, and like, I don't want to. I just don't want to talk to myself. I totally agree that I think friendships, especially as adults, it's just weird. Like it's like when people talk about dating, like, I don't know, should I text them back? Like, I don't know if they like me. Maybe they're just being polite. Did they ghost me? Like, I do that with friendships.
Yeah.
Like, how do you guys know when you're friends with somebody? How do you each know like, oh, we're friends now?
I don't know. Mine is often if I've cried in front of them, I'm like, you've seen too much. You have to go. I don't know. I'm trying to think of, this sounds really sad. I'm trying to think of the last friend I made to know how they're my friend.
It's also COVID. I don't think that's weird. Like, Who's meeting a bunch
I mean,
of
like
people?
pre-COVID, I'm still like, I think the last friend I made was in Toronto, which is 3 years ago. But genuinely, like, how's that?
If they invite you to their birthday party. But it depends what kind of birthday party they're having.
Yeah, then you feel so amazing, and then you show up and it's like at a big hall. And there's like 300 people. You're like, great.
Yeah. You're like, oh
like,
god,
great.
there's 300 people who don't want me as their friend. Let's start socializing.
Who wants to fill my time? Ready. You guys you came back to Toronto one time and invited me to like a gathering. It was actually very close to my house at a little pub. And I showed up and there weren't a lot of people there. And in that moment, I was like, oh my God, they think I'm their friend. Like,
I
know, but listen, that was my evidence. I don't know.
Okay.
No, you know what? Actually, the garbage giveaway, maybe that was my evidence. The white elephant garbage. I think I was like,
yeah.
Amanda's allowed to take some of our trash home. She's one of us.
Yeah.
If anyone will let me take their garbage home, then I feel like we're friends.
Or if anyone comes around and clicks like, these bitches have just invited me to take their shit home. Oh my God, they love me so much.
Listen, because then I'm like, it says a lot about what, I don't know, if I feel like if I have my garbage out, I'm like, this is a part of who I am. Like, here we go. You know?
That's true.
Has it been hard? Like, I feel like you guys have gone through so many changes, like so moving to Toronto, being here for 3 years, coming back. I mean, like, doesn't your video have like 50 million views or something amazing and like wild? And then you're touring.
Calm down with these
seriously,
numbers.
but listen, for real. And like you have like an Amazon special, all these things. This is what I'm wondering. In all of these changes, it can be hard to maintain friendships, especially with people who aren't in the industry, because it might not be like similar, I don't know, schedules and stuff. So how have you guys found maintaining? I know you both have close friends who are from like school and sort of out of the industry. How has it been maintaining your friendships? Oh no, Nicola, you're like
I've burnt everyone to the ground. My only friends are in Canada.
I have no friends.
I have zero, not even a joke. You can decide whether that's sarcastic or not. I have not done great. I think a problem that we've had is, I'm saying we so it doesn't just make me sound like a bitch, sorry. But like how I think it's difficult. Most of my friends here, and almost basically none of my friends here, are in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
I hate the word the industry, it feels so wanky, but here we are. So like trying to explain to someone that you can't go to like an event because you have to work is difficult, because I think your friends only see the glamorous side of your job usually. And so when you say like, oh, I have to go to work, they're like, oh, she's too good for us, she's going to do this glamorous thing instead. And you're like, no, I'm actually going to like the arse end of nowhere in the UK for like 15 minutes. No one's going to laugh. We're not getting paid enough money, and I'm going to get back at like 2 o'clock in the morning. I want to be at your thing. And things like, not like, I've had a couple friends who've got married, and you're like, I will be there at the wedding. I can be there at the wedding. But like the lead up and all the kind of like fun stuff, like the hen weekend and the planning, and like I've had like friends who've got married during the Edinburgh Festival, which is like a big thing for us that we have to do every year. And you sort of can't explain that to someone, that a wedding is like the biggest thing in their life, and as it's like at that moment in time, for example. But for us, Edinburgh is like the biggest, it's what our year leads up to every year, and it determines like whether we potentially work for the next year. So trying to explain to someone like, I can't be there at your rehearsal dinner, I can't help you like pick up your dress, I'm going to be there for one bridesmaid fitting, and then I'm like just going to cross my fingers that the dress fits on the day, and I'm going to turn up at midnight on the day of your wedding, and I'm going to leave at 8 o'clock the next morning because I have to get back to work. And I think it's like, it's a difficult thing to explain to someone, and then to also expect them to be okay with it, like, and kind of, I don't know, I think it's trying to find ways to then make up for the fact that you're like, I know I wasn't there for this, I know I couldn't do this, can I do this instead? And I definitely have like fucked it along the way, for sure. Not like across the board with everyone, but there are definitely things where I'm like, you didn't handle that right, or like whatever. But yeah, I think it's I still haven't gotten I still haven't figured out how to like do it properly. I don't think.
Edinburgh Fringe is a really hard thing to explain to friends because it takes up the whole of August. You're up there, and it is the most stressful month of the most stressful month of the year. Then you've also got May, June, and July. You're gigging a lot to preview the show and get new material ready, and you're stressed because stuff isn't funny, and you're like, should I even be doing the Fringe? Is the show ready? Like, for at least those 3 months, if not the 6 months leading up to it, it's always on your mind.
And we're like the worst version of ourselves at that time.
Yeah,
you're not, even if you're like, I can take this one day off to go to your wedding, you're basically like a fucking werewolf in a dress being like, don't talk to me, you're not at your best, like mentally you're not at your best to be around anyone other than like performers.
So you have to. I had once we played a festival called we were playing a festival called Latitude. There's this really cool like amazing comedy lineup, amazing music lineup, and it's like a great thing to be a part of. And I said to my friends, I'm doing Latitude, we can get some camping tickets, everyone come up and we can have the weekend at Latitude. We were performing on the Friday afternoon, so I was like, everyone come up on Friday afternoon, we'll have the whole weekend. So they booked a couple tickets, so they'd like spent a good amount of money on it. And then we got closer to the time, we got a gig booked on the Saturday, so we had to come home from the festival, and they'd all booked time off work and bought these tickets. And I was like, I'm so sorry guys, but we're not, like, I've got to go, I can't be at the festival. I was like, I'll have Friday night with you, but I was gonna have to leave really early Saturday, so I couldn't like party too much. And those are moments where you feel like you're letting people down because your intentions are all like, come and do this fun thing with me, but then you have to, like, days before stuff, you often have to be like, fuck, I'm so sorry, I've got to be somewhere else. But yeah, I feel like you keep the friends that are understanding and yeah, to be fair, like I'd say loads of our friends, or like a large portion of our friends, are still Canadian.
Yeah,
definitely,
for sure. And I think that's also helped by the fact that almost all of our friends are performers, so they get it. So they understand that you have no work, and then you get, like, you haven't had work for weeks or whatever, and then you get a job and it happens to be on your friend's birthday, and you're like, cool, well, I need to pay my bills, so I have to do this thing. And also I like my job, and I want to do, apart from anything else, like most of the time it is like, I have to do this because this is my job, and I need to work in the same way that you have to turn up at your job at 9 o'clock in the morning. But also I like my job, and there are times when I'm like, no, I want to take this gig and I want to do this thing, and I'm sorry that it's your birthday or that it's this thing or whatever. But I also like when a lot of you, I know it sounds wanky because we're obviously doing like an amazing job, but like a lot of it can also be a bit shit and uncertain, and you're quite nervous and stuff. So when something comes along that you're like, this is fucking cool, I want to do that thing, and you just sort of hope that friends understand it and you try and make up for it, or like I don't know. But then you also don't want to be in a position where you're like, well, I'll do this, like, oh, I did this, so now I'm going to make it up to you by doing this. Like, you don't want it to be like trying to overcompensate for a thing of like, I'm sorry I couldn't make it to your birthday, but here's like a £2,000 birthday present. I've never done that. I don't have that money to hand. But like,
that's why you had to miss the birthday, because you can't afford to do that.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's hard to feel like a reliable friend, or feel like you're communicating how much you actually care about somebody, when it's like, no, I'm a reliable person, I just might cancel on you the day before. but it'll be out of my, so yeah, it is. And you're right, you also don't want to send the message like, I need to make up for this because this is something that like requires me to make up for. It's like, no, this is the same as like, I wouldn't say, hey, do you want to go grab coffee at 10 a.m.? And you're like, I work from 9 to 5. And then I'm like, what the fuck? You're an awful friend. Like, no, you wouldn't. Yeah. So it is hard sometimes. Like sorry, you go. No, I was just gonna say, I've had friends where I'm like, yeah, but I don't find out till the day before, like what time I start work. And they're like, what do you mean you don't get your call time until the day before? Like, that's not true, right? And I'm like, no, literally. Like, why do I keep hitting my mic? Like, I've never done this before. I'm
You're
like, no,
angry.
I'm just punching everything. But yeah.
I think as well, like, we're all in performing, and it's been hobbies and paychecks at all different points. And people, the thing that we want to do is perform, and that is often quite a vain. People see it as a vanity thing, or, oh, you're cancelling on me so you can go on stage and have people applaud for you, and so you can put on a show for people who want to come and see you. Like, it feels like kind of a selfish thing to do if you're like, oh, sorry, I can't come and celebrate your birthday because there's a room of 100 people waiting to cheer me on because I am funny. I'm sorry.
People need my jokes. It does. No, you're right.
They need my 8-minute song.
Exactly. They need my Lady in the Woods. They'll die without the lady. But like, I guess also too, they're seeing, like, let's say they come to the show or they see the online video or something, they're seeing the end product where you're making it look effortless. You're making it look like, oh, I didn't need to put in 20. It doesn't look like I needed 20 hours of rehearsal, but really it's like, no, I'm like, that's the end product. I need all this other stuff. I need to be like doing different shows to practice and work out material. I need to be writing for however many hours. And that's hard sometimes too. Like if I go do a show and I'm like hosting, I will make it look effortless, but for the whole day I've been stressing about writing jokes. Like they don't see that part. And I'm sure that's hard to like communicate.
I think it's also like, for what we do is a hobby. Like it's a hobby for people to watch. Like going to watch comedy, going to watch theatre, or watching TV or whatever is like, it's seen as a hobby, and so people consider the job a hobby and like a fun thing.
A jobby.
And so,
do you know what a jobby is?
I thought it was just a joint word. I was like, oh, a jobby for Billy Gruff. Wait.
I mean, that's also a thing, but she doesn't want a jobby.
Wait, so a jobby is a turd? Like a poo?
Yeah.
It's a Scottish word for a poo. So you'd be like, I did a fat jobby.
I can't believe they're putting
that was really good.
Thank you, Amanda.
Wow, you're welcome.
Wait, on that note, can I go get us a gin and tonic?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Get out of here.
I'll keep going.
Please. You know what is one thing that, like, one part of what I miss of you guys not being in Toronto anymore, apart from just physically being here and getting to see you, is that I loved getting to see you try out songs. Like I can think of one specific song where, like, I'm sad it's not on an album and I can't listen to it. Boys.
Which one is it?
I miss Boys.
That was another one. They did not like it here.
Who? UK? I hate them. Why? That song is perfect.
We had people being like, it's a fun song. I think the ending just wasn't funny enough. Like, it wasn't, you wouldn't play it in like a comedy club here. You play it in like maybe your own show. But yeah, the ending was never funny.
I think our agent was also like, if I'd cut one song, I'd cut Boys. We were like, you're fired.
We think we're going to do that.
So now we're represented by somebody else.
We're represented by Joan and Flo. It's not us, we swear. We've got no work.
Oh man. I loved, Dustin and I would always like, we didn't know all the words, but I couldn't remember all the names, but I wanted to. So I was like, oh my God, when they record this, I'm going to memorize all the names. I loved it.
A trick of that song was also that we just put in all of the names of people we loved in Toronto. So you can just like tick off we've got like people's dogs in there. Like just I just also like singing it because I'm like, oh, and this person and this person.
Oh, I can be like a bonus track one day.
Like one of those where like you have to listen to the end of a song and then like 20 minutes later on that same track. Like, what the fuck has happened here?
Yeah. It's like hidden, like a B-side.
B-side?
B-side?
Sure.
That's a thing.
B-side.
I'll take it.
From the Bees. Okay, so I don't know what I'm talking about. I haven't eaten anything since breakfast, and I've drank a lot of my gin. And I made it too strong, so I'm having so much fun.
What gin are you drinking?
Cheers, by the way.
Oh my God, cheers!
Cheers!
I love this.
Smash.
Wow. Oh, and a lime.
Yeah, we got limes going on over
love
here.
It.
Wow. Limes akimbo.
I'm drinking Tanqueray.
Yes.
Very nice gin.
Very nice gin.
It's very good. I actually think it was gifted to me. Oh my God. You know how I thought I think I got it? I had friends.
I didn't pick it up from our like garbage sale, did you?
No, it was another friend's garbage sale. I promise you. Wow, this is like, I'm learning so much about myself. Yeah. Some friends were moving to LA and they had some gin and they were like, do you want this? I was like, sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love it when you have a house party and you wake up in the morning and you're like, yes, look at all this stuff there. Or like weird bottles of lemonade that you're like, maybe we won't use that. But Look, half a bottle of Blossom Hill wine.
It's so great. Or like if people bring over like, here's a bag of chips, and you're like, oh, we didn't even need to open it, but people were starving, but now I have dinner. Like, oh yeah, I love it. Hosting is great. You get like, you have to clean up, but you also like, you clean up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh my God, am I in comedy?
Clean up
It's
to
amazing. Okay, so I hate that I'm doing this to you, but I love harmonizing and I can't do it. I took singing lessons for like a number of years, and one of my singing teachers one day told me she was like, you're always flat or always sharp, so fix that. I was like, great. So I don't think I could ever harmonize because I was always just like, I can't even hit the middle of a note, let alone like harmonize with somebody. So I want to know, you guys are so good at harmonizing. What is like a tip to be able to harmonize? How the fuck do you harmonize? That's what I want to know.
I have no idea. I'd also say I'm not very good at harmonizing. Nicola would be like, I'm going to sing this. Can you just sing something over the top? And I'll be like, yeah, sure, I got it. And then be like,
That was my Kate Bush song.
That's my Kate Bush song.
I feel like, I don't really know.
Doing the arpeggios?
Yeah, maybe find it depends on what your vibe is, what the vibe of the song is.
That's so true. That's so. What if it was like outside of a song? What if it's literally like, oh, this friend is gonna hum a note, and then I'm gonna try and harmonize on that note?
Do you know what? My friends used to do this when we were at school in like grade 9. They would sing. It was really embarrassing actually, and I can't believe no one beat us up. But they would sing, you know, in The Simpsons, the B sharps. Is it the B sharps?
Yeah.
When they go, hello, hello, hello.
Yes.
So if someone sings a note, just then do like, pretend that you're singing hello, hello, hello.
Oh, I love that.
Maybe.
Just hear
Let's do it
hello
now.
in your head. Okay.
Let's do that. Nicola, you start, and then I'll ask you
Okay.
the second one.
Okay, and I'll do the third one. Okay, I'm so excited.
No, you do the second, third, and fourth.
Oh, I thought you were gonna be like, no, you don't join. Like you.
We show
This is
you.
just a Flo and Joan thing.
Record it, learn it, and in a year's time we'll see how you've done.
Patreon. Record yourself harmonizing. Put it
Show
on your
Joan teach
Patreon.
harmony.
Okay, I'm ready. What number am I? Am I first, second, or I'm not first. Am I second or third?
Actually, do third. I'll do
Okay.
you do one. I'll do two.
Okay.
I'm so scared.
Hello.
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 Yes.
Yeah, that was it.
That was it.
It didn't sound nice. Like, why didn't it sound good when I came in? Like,
Let's do it again. Let's do it. I didn't quite
Okay.
get it.
Okay.
Hello.
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 Nailed it.
Smashed
Was
it.
that good?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just gonna picture hello. So it doesn't matter what note it is. It could be like me, and then I'll be like hello, hello, hello.
That's exactly how singing works.
Now in a Patreon, I will give you a singing lesson for an hour.
But hey, Amanda, you sang in Wales, and you sang amazing in Wales.
You definitely sang harmonies in Wales.
Yeah.
Oh, guys, yeah, but people like I did. Yes, so
was
Nicola,
that?
Rosie, and I were all in a show called Wheels, and I did have to
Rosie?
sing harmonies. Here's the thing, too. In that show, I was like, I am the weak link. And I was like, I can't sing as well. But it's fine. This podcast is teaching me how many stupid narratives I tell myself. And I'm like, and then I edit the episode and I'm like, Amanda, shut up. Stop telling yourself that you suck. Like, this is so annoying at this point.
You're down on yourself.
And if you were shit, you would have got kicked out.
Yeah, we would have told you if you were shit.
We were friends.
Politely reformed.
Politely, we just would not have done the show. I did have to harmonize. I can harmonize if somebody like gives me the note to sing. I can harmonize, but
that's
you know,
how you learn how to do it.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. It's not like it has to be intuitive in the very beginning. No. You know, I have a friend who I did musical theater with her, and since the moment I met her, she just like. I'll just sing something and she can just come in and harmonize with me on anything. And she doesn't do it in a cocky way. Like it's so fun. And she just has the natural ability. I don't even think she realized she has it. She has it.
You're crazy.
Hillary Graff. Hillary Graff is my favorite thing ever. Yeah, and I'm always like, I want to be able to do that, but maybe it takes practice. Genius. Maybe I just have to practice harmonizing.
It probably takes practice, and you must. I don't know enough about music to really know if what I'm saying is right. But if you know like scales, or if you hear the scale or you hear the arpeggio?
Yeah, I think it's like just listening to music and like hearing other people and like getting your ear used to, because rather than like having to learn all the kind of technical shit, you could also just listen to other people doing it and then see what you can pick up from it. Is how like I find it easier to do that than like sit down and like do the musical maths of, okay, well if they say this note then I can do this note. Like everyone listens to music, so you know what it's supposed to sound like intrinsically you just know what it's supposed to sound like, unless you've never listened to music in your life, in which case I'm so sorry, but like
you can't
you do just know, like you pick it up. It's just in your brain whether you realize it or not. So the more you listen to stuff and the more you listen to people harmonizing and stuff, it will just like sink in like in your pores, I think.
Yeah. No, I can totally see that. When you guys are figuring out your harmonies, do you do it by ear? Like, oh, I think this sound would be good. Or are you doing it on the piano? Like, let's sing these two notes. Like, how do you guys pick your harmonies?
I think it's by ear, isn't it?
It's usually me singing the main tune and Nicola finding the harmony.
And then afterwards, like a day later, Rose would go, what's my tune? And I was like, I'm not listening to you. I don't know. If you can't remember that, that's absolutely your problem now.
Yeah, I would always be a melody person for sure. Yeah. And I think too, like, I think I was a soprano. I don't remember. This is great. It's on my acting resume. I don't know what I am. I'll reference it later. But I guess soprano, I always, in musical theater, I was always given the melody and I was always like, no, put me on the harmony. I need to get better at that. And so I think I just didn't work that muscle ever, because they're like, you're going to be on melody because of because they were like, you don't know how to harmonize or put it. No, but did you hear that laugh?
That's the laugh of a woman who's very okay with like being told that she can't harmonize.
Yeah. That's the laugh you do as just for when your teacher tells you your singing teacher's like, you're either flat or sharp, and then you laugh and shoot her in the head. That's how the film starts. Yeah. Oh my God, that's how the film starts. I love it. And then I sing soprano for the whole movie. Yeah.
It's an American Idol. It's been a show.
Did I tell you I auditioned for Canadian Idol when I was a kid?
Shut up, that's amazing.
Wow, what did you do?
My older ex-stepsister wanted to audition and I wanted to be just like her. So I was like, I'll go. And I was just old enough, like whatever the age is. So we went, and you're in like this trailer with like 5 other singers, and there's like a couple people at a desk like at the other end of the trailer, and you have to sing your little song. And I sang Colors of the Wind from Pocahontas because I clearly like just did not know my brand. I had no idea. Like they would be looking at me like, well, how are we supposed to sell this? Like, you're singing a Disney song. Like, what are you about? Nobody got in except for this one guy who was like very clearly awful and sang a country song. But yeah, anyway, it was a cool experience. It was great.
How old are you?
I guess I was like 15, maybe. I don't know. Really, I was like, my sister's doing this. This is so cool. Let's go do this too.
Did she get through?
She didn't, and I still thought she was super cool and very talented. I like got into singing because of her, because she took singing lessons. So I was like, I want to take them too. And then, and my stepmom would buy us like matching outfits, but I was like bigger than her and she would buy them in the same size. So we would do singing recitals. Like my sister would go up and it would be like perfect fit and she would sing her beautiful song. And then I would go up and sing something in Italian with like, I looked like a sausage because it was too tight. I probably couldn't breathe. And I'm singing some like aria of something that green sleeves that is like way beyond my years of like being 10.
Oh my God, anyone singing green sleeves in a dress that's too tight it's my favorite thing.
Basically, I thought I was going to be a musical star, but really like I was destined for comedy, stuck in my sausage outfit singing sleeves, trying to be my big
that's so sweet.
The origin story of every good comedian. Okay,
public humiliation.
Exactly.
At a young age.
Exactly, just thrust it on you constantly and you're like, is this normal? Okay, great.
And then no one ever tells you that you look weird, so you just keep doing it. They just let you keep humiliating yourself over and over again, and they hope that at some point you'll cotton on to the fact that you shouldn't be doing it, but no one has the balls to actually tell you shouldn't. That's not my story. It's definitely not. Don't worry about it.
It's like no one's telling me that my ass is out of my skirt at the end of the night, and I'm like, somebody tell me that I'm in a sausage dress, but nobody's telling me. Yeah, everyone's just the train women, and nobody's telling them that they're the train woman. 100%. Oh my God, the train women. I love it. Woman on a Train, Emily Blunt. That was a great book.
I don't think the narrative in that was a woman desperately trying to tell naked women that they should put their skirts down.
She did get drunk on the train, like every time she was on the train, but it was like for sad reasons, so it was very different. Like, again, let's suck all the comedy out of this moment. Oh my God. Okay, so I'd love to play a game with you guys. I figure, I mean, first of all, you grew up together, obviously. And then also you're spending so much time, when you were in Toronto, you lived together and then spending so much time together. I kind of want to do like a newlyweds game, sort of like how well you know each other. Okay. Both of your faces are like, so this might be the end of Flo and Joan. We'll see how this goes. Okay. So on your piece of paper thank you so much for doing that for me. Okay, so I'm gonna show me.
That's show me. From What Terror This Day Will Bring is on there.
Yeah, that's that.
Would you ever like go into a meeting with like Amazon and you just have that as your briefcase? You're just like, do. Oh no, did we freeze? Gosh, don't you just love the internet? Hello.
Oh, so sorry.
That's fine. I sat here eating chips. Honestly, it was
me too.
Oh my God. What are you eating? Wait, what kind?
Salt and vinegar. Ready salted. Same, basically the same. We're eating the
That's
same
what I was thinking. I love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah, it was like
Vicky.
Love it.
Miss
Also,
Vicky's actually.
Oh, they don't have it in UK, Miss Vicky's.
No, I've looked over quarantine. I've looked up all my favorite crisps from Canada, and it's like that'll be £29 for one bag. I'm like, do I want them that much? It's like, you're not earning anything. You've got no job. What do you think you're doing?
I also realized I put this in my mouth, and it would sound awful on the microphone. So then I panicked. Like I didn't want to. I just held it.
You can eat the crisp. It's fine.
Eat the crisp.
Eat the crisp. You also have a very amazing song about crisps that I love.
Oh yeah, Lady Crisps.
Lady Crisps. I love it. I was also thinking, as soon as like basically the internet crashed, I thought like, oh my God, nobody likes this Victorian woman. Like everyone just hates her. You show the Victorian woman and just the world ends. So we're like, what the fuck?
You can just hear a big boo.
Just from every little voice on the internet. But I also thought like, how cute would it be if you go to like your meeting with Amazon or like your next special and you just hold that as your briefcase? You're like, we're here.
Excuse me, Phil, we got some funny ideas for you.
Oh my God, I love it.
A hole in the earth immediately.
I love it. All right, well, let's see if we can break up Flo and Joan. No, I'm just kidding. Let's play this newlywed game. Oh, woo! Okay, so I feel like I'm just gonna say how to play it. I feel like everybody already intuitively knows. But here's what we'll do. I'm gonna ask you a question, either about Nicola or about Rosie. So if I ask a question about Rosie, Rosie's gonna write down her answer. Nicola's gonna write down what she thinks Rosie is gonna write down.
Yes.
Oh, wait, so I can't, okay.
It's like Mr. and Mrs.
Okay, yeah.
And then we'll swap. So I'm gonna go back and forth. And so if you get it right, if you get it wrong, you drink. Okay, if the person gets it right about you, you drink.
Sure.
Yeah.
We'll check in. And then if either of you ever get it wrong, I will also drink. Because I was like, this needs to be fair. Okay, cool.
Cool.
Okay, so my first question is about Nicola. So Nicola, you write down your answer, and Rosie, you write down what you think Nicola's going to say. Okay.
Right, I'm at school where you like put your elbow out.
Yeah, totally. We need like one of those little voting dividers. Okay.
Yeah. I would definitely cheat.
Put your briefcase up. Yeah. Hold your briefcase high in the air. Okay. So
can I just say also, actually no, I feel like this is a really bad time. Amanda thought that those clothes were like baby clothes.
When you went to go make drinks, I was like, Nicola, why do you have tiny clothes in the back? Like, what is going on there?
Anyway, we've covered it. I just thought you should know.
This house is full of baby clothes. We can't tell you why, but it's full of baby clothes.
They're just tiny clothes. You were like, Nicholas, like, I thought I was just really miniature, but they're too small for me.
Yeah,
What did
my
we do?
clothes.
Yeah. Actually, when I asked, and then I was like, if Nicholas says those are her clothes, I swear to God, I'm going to feel so rude. Like, I'm just going to feel so bad. I just figured maybe like the fashion designer that Rosie lives with, like, is for baby apparel. That's what I thought maybe, but.
I would not live here if my friend made baby clothes. I'd have way more questions than I would run.
That's the red flag.
Yeah.
The deal breaker. If you own baby clothes and you don't have a baby, that age,
in the bin.
Yeah.
You're done.
Even if you make baby clothes, let alone own them, if you've gone out of your way to make sure a baby isn't naked, then I feel
like that's
that
good.
is someone's job, yeah, but not on my house.
Not under my roof. Love it. Okay, so Nicola and Rosie, what superpower would Nicola choose to have? So Nicola, you write down what superpower you would want to have, and then Rosie's writing down what she thinks you're going to say. And Rosie's real cocky because she just finished her drink, so she doesn't think she's going to have to drink for this whole game.
I'm going to eat the ice cubes. That's how coffee I feel.
That's how coffee I feel. That was me trying to do some sort of imitation, and I realized it was so half-assed.
It was South African, I think.
Just went so the other way. Okay, do we have our answers?
Mm-hmm.
I'm so excited. Okay, you can reveal. And I just realized, listeners, maybe you want to go to YouTube and watch this, but I'll say what they said. All right, Nicola, what did you say?
I wish my superpower was that I could click my fingers and my makeup is off.
Oh, I love that.
So that's just the other. Oh, I'll let Rosie say what hers is.
Rosie, what did
my
you
option
think?
B.
Oh,
well, she looks defeated the way she like chugged her ice cube out of her mouth.
I mean, slightly more aggressive with my answer. I thought Nicola would like to have the ability to I don't need to show you, do I? To kill or delete people that she doesn't like.
I do that anyway.
Okay.
It's like I have that superpower.
Yeah, it's called being me.
Just to eject people out of a situation if you don't like them.
Oh, I see. That's very useful.
That's what I thought.
My other one was going to be invisibility, but I think I've got that one covered pretty well anyway. I leave places that I don't want to be in, and I'm like the personification of that Homer Simpson meme of him walking into a bush. That's me, like
slowly.
Literally me.
You're like a natural Irish goodbye. You're just like, honestly. I'm leaving now. Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so now it's going to be about Rosie. Okay. What would be Rosie's spirit animal? You know, drinking like a cold drink and then a hot drink, it's an experience.
Have you got to work today?
Rosie, this is my life now. No.
I forgot we were in the middle of a pandemic for a second.
Also, is your restaurant back open?
It is, yeah. So I am serving. I only like a couple days a week. So I wasn't scheduled today. Actually, also I'm realizing like, no, because I'm recording like the middle of the day and drinking gin. Like,
that's what I wanted. I was like, how much gin are you going to be drinking?
No, we're not working tonight. We're just drinking some more gin. Probably. I actually haven't drank gin in so long. I feel like it's such a polarizing liquor. Like people either love it or hate it. I love it.
Yeah. If I drink too much, I cry. But in general, I find it like very easy to drink. It's like I think it's the only spirit mostly that I drink.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd say that. That's what I'd say. There we go.
I said it and I would say it.
You heard it.
I had a vodka the other day, which I haven't had since uni, and I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
Oh, good. I also really like tequila these days. Like,
I think I'm coming around to tequila.
Yes.
Lol.
Oh, Rosie just fell over. Like, what?
She tried to show the cat to the webcam and he was having absolutely none of it.
That's what just happened. Do you know what actually looked like it happened? It looked like Rosie took her headphones off, took a step, and then just rolled over. Like it looked like she just, I thought she just fell. And it was perfect timing. She was like, you know what? I haven't had vodka in a while. Take off headphones. I'm really enjoying it. Fall off. And I was like, what?
Oh no. It's actually a more boring story where I tried to chase a cat and it ran away.
More telling.
Oh.
Well, now that a cat's run away from you, what's your spirit animal?
Not a cat.
Yeah.
My spirit animal is one of those monkeys that have their bum out.
Oh, like a baboon, like with the purple bums?
Yeah.
Love
I
that.
Them.
Why do you love them? Because their bums out?
Bums out, and you can often see them like smiling, and then they'll sit and they'll be like, I know my bum's out. I
Like
know it's out.
They're mischievous, like your music.
Mischievous. They're fun as well, and they're fun with everyone around them.
Fun with
swing about. Oh yeah, I do love a monkey.
That's gonna be.
I do love a monkey.
That's gonna be the audio quote that I pull from this interview. I do love a monkey. That's gonna be the quote. Just that.
On iTunes.
Oh, we have so many merch ideas. Nicola, what did you guess?
I wrote a golden Labrador / retriever.
Oh, that's cute. Why did you say that?
Well, a friend of ours describes us as like a golden Labrador like puppy that's like really, really, really excited and like bouncy and excited to see the world. And then I'm a cat that just sits there angrily, and every now and again is like. So
you're the cat that like ran away from Rosie.
Yeah, literally, that's me. Sits there in silence and then like absolutely runs away.
I'm like, let's play.
Yeah.
And she's like, and she just slowly walks away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
just do this with my tail.
That's perfect timing. We could do ADR together so well. Oh my God, I love that. I love that. Okay, so then Nicola lost, so Nicola and I drink.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm just gonna drink on everyone. If you guys could pick it up. No, I'm just kidding. It's actually just fun. I mean, I'm gonna drink anyway.
I'm having a drink on everyone.
Mm-hmm.
It's Christmas, baby.
Gin makes me think of Christmas because of Christmas trees. Pine trees. That's what they are. They're not Christmas trees. Maybe they don't celebrate Christmas. Those pines.
Gin makes you think of pine.
Yeah, I feel like it smells like pine trees.
I understand what you mean.
That's not what I'm getting.
I had a gin the other day that smelled like full nail varnish remover. It was hideous.
Oh.
It tasted really nice, but like to smell it, I was like, that'd take the skin off your eyes.
It's interesting that it would taste so skin off your eyes. Those eyelids, they would just slice right off, fall right into your little bottom lip there.
Yeah.
It's weird that it would smell so different than it tasted.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of alcohol is like that. I don't know if you've ever had alcohol, but
this is my first time.
There's often tricks of the game, isn't there?
We often get tricked into drink. No, that's whole other. We do. Okay. Next question for Nicola. What is Nicola's favorite Flo and Joan song?
I can't actually remember any of our songs.
I feel like I'm making you guys take a school exam.
I've forgotten how to write with a pen.
Oh my God, there's some words I can't spell. Like when I was a kid, I remember feeling confident about spelling. And like, I don't care what that makes me sound like. I loved it. I was like, I know grammar, I know spelling. Yeah. Nowadays, I'm like, I'll ask the smallest word. I'm like, how the fuck do you spell this? Like, it's awful.
I get angry when my autocorrect corrects me as well, where I'm like, you're wrong. It's like, I'm not. I'm helping you right now.
Yeah.
Like, that is not how you spell embarrassed, which is a word I write a lot. And I think I've spelt it wrong enough now. I write it all the time, and I've spelt it wrong enough that autocorrect is like, okay, live your truth.
Fine. Yeah.
Do what you want to do then.
Recommend. Sorry, also in the background, it's just Rosie like bending over and just tiptoeing a couple steps to try and get this cat interested in her. And this cat just is not having it.
He's hiding in a bag. He's hiding in a fucking bag.
He would rather be in a bag than be in your arms. Bag. Be in an old stinky gin bag.
I really want to. I think he can feel my desperation to want to love him, and he's just does it, and then runs away.
Not interested. Oh my God,
that's so funny. The rosiest cheeks. I look like an old lady who's got the heating up too high.
I get so sweaty and like Rosie on this podcast. Oh my God. Last time I was wiping my sweat off with like a scrunchie. It was disgusting because it's all I had on my desk. It was awful. Oh my God. Okay. What did we say is Nicola's favorite Flo and Joan song?
Vaccination at the moment.
Oh. I put Have You Ever Tried to Hide?
Okay, so then the next one is, what's Rosie's least favorite Flo and Joan song?
It will be one that I've written. I know. I think we might actually get this one right.
I'm so excited. I love when the guesser is so confident and the person who's putting their own answer like has no idea what they're going to say, but then it matches. It's so great. Okay. Oh, that was the quickest one. Okay. What did you say?
European Love.
Is that your least favorite, Rosie?
Yeah,
absolute dog shit.
It's not a dog shit song. It's annoyingly one of the most listened to on the Stranglers album.
But I think it's because a lot of old people listen to it and they like that we say the word Brexit at the end.
It's a lot of like, and here's a rhyming word. Hey, a doobity. It's a lot of that. There are some funny bits in it, and they're definitely like funny. Like, I'm not completely ashamed of it, but out of all of them, that is one we've never, ever, ever put in a set outside of the show.
We wrote it really quick towards Edinburgh. It was like one of the last songs we wrote. It was one of the last songs we wrote in Toronto. And then we played it in the show, and then the final day of the show was the final day we played that song.
I actually really like the bits of dark humor in European Love. Like when he's like, he has all these puppets, and then the next one is like he has like a sexual interest in all these fish. Like, I love that. I was like,
the fact that you said that and I don't even know what you're talking about is testament to how
also now I'm a part of me was gonna be like, oh my god, am I talking about the right song? But yes, because at the end I love it. And then it's this beautiful, also you like make a joke about, you're like, so I put my finger on the map and blah, 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 blah. Like, you don't even want to finish the chorus. I love that.
I can't remember what the
To be fair, now I think about it, I'm like, there's probably some amazing things in it.
Too late, you wrote it down. It's your favorite song.
I think it's more of the style of song doesn't interest me enough, maybe. I think it's like a bit like traveling, like boom, ba boom, ba boom. And I quite like traveling because I find it more relatable. It's probably not that bad of a song. I don't know why we just.
It's quite long as well.
It is quite long, yeah.
But anyway, rest in peace.
I'm probably angry
rest
about
in
it.
peace. Well, maybe you just needed some distance from it, and then it will like rejuvenate itself. But I actually really like that song. I think it's very funny, and I think you make lots of different sort of commentary in it that I really enjoy. And I didn't see the ending coming. I also live in Canada, so I don't know if that's different, but I didn't see the ending coming, and I really love that song.
What's the fish thing? I don't even know what the fish thing is.
What is the fish thing?
The Finland lover. Like, you went fishing, you caught a fish, and then you caught another fish, and then he gave that fish a kiss, and then he gave another, and then there was and then he slipped his tongue in the fish with the kiss.
Yeah.
Those are not the lyrics.
This song right now.
Those are not the lyrics, but essentially the first one you fall in love with a man in Italy, and it's beautiful, and then you go back to his apartment, you think you're in love, you open the cupboard and it's all these little wooden eyes staring at you, and he's a fucking creep with a bunch of puppets, so you run away. Then you fall in love with the guy in Finland, and you catch fish, and he like adoringly is like, oh, kiss a fish, but then you're like, this is now getting creepy because he starts kissing them, tonguing them, so you jump out of the boat and you ran away, which always gets a laugh on the recordings. I mean, I don't know, but yeah, I loved that. And then you fall in love and it's beautiful, and then you hit with your love got deported because of Brexit. I was like, this is a brilliant song.
I genuinely,
when you say it out loud,
I genuinely think you're pitching me a new song that I've never heard before in my life. Like, Amanda, you should write the song.
Rosie and the actress who played the girl in The Ring wrote this song. It wasn't you.
I crawled out of the television with the music manuscript.
I kind of want to listen to it again and see how it works.
It's great. It's a really good song. It was actually one of the first songs that I was like recently when I was re-listening, I was like, Mom, you have to listen to this one. It's so good. And she was like, we were out on her deck and she was doing work, and I literally put it on speaker on my phone and pushed it towards her computer. I was like, listen to this. It's so good.
Is that it's in the position where we put our like, here's our opinion on this thing. I think it's like the second song. Our second song is always like, we've got something to say about this. And then the rest of that show was like, oh, remember if it was Christmas? Like, the rest of the show is an absolute gong show.
Oh my God. Okay, I have one last question for each of you. Okay, so for Nicola, who would be Nicola's current celebrity crush? You have an answer? Nicola, do you have an answer too?
Yeah.
Okay, Nicola, what did you say your celebrity crush is?
John Hamm.
Oh.
That's a good one.
But I'm interested to see what yours is, because I also have like, it's like
It's like Kermit the Frog. You're going to drink if it's
like
Kermit the Frog.
fucking Olaf or something. Don't write.
Show us your notebook.
I put Harry Potter in the first film.
Not the book, the first film.
What?
So the child. Yeah, you're like, I want to specify the child version of child version of Daniel Radcliffe.
No, I think, but Daniel Radcliffe, but with glasses on.
He wears the glasses all the way through the film, and in one of them he's of legal age.
I was adding the first film for a good old-fashioned piece of fun. I think general Daniel Radcliffe with glasses.
I do like Daniel Radcliffe, and I was listening to a podcast with him yesterday where I was like, I think we could get married. And then he's a girlfriend who I've been with for 8 years. Also, he's a short man.
But short men are fine.
Is that good? Do we want a short man or do we not want a short man?
I mean, we don't really want to, but also it makes me look less short if he's short.
Yeah.
And he is short.
It could do the opposite of what your ceiling is doing for those clothes. Like it could make you look very tall.
If we hang Daniel Radcliffe up there and me next to him, we look like a normal couple.
I love that. Oh my gosh. Okay, Okay, last question for Rosie. Mm-hmm. So if Rosie was going to go get a tattoo right now, what would she get?
Something I have been thinking about a lot.
Me too. Tell me what you get and I'll just get it because I don't have one.
I have two and I love them.
I remember when you got those.
Yeah, Willow Maple Leaf. And then,
I want a tattoo. I just don't know what to get. And so
I didn't know until I knew, and then I was like, get it on me right now.
Yes.
But for years I was like, I don't know what it is and I don't want to just get one for the sake of it and then be like, oh gross.
Yeah
There's definitely like power in holding out. And also I was like, I don't want any words because I definitely will look at them like within a week and be like, I'm so embarrassed for you.
I also am so afraid that the words will be misspelt that I think I'll start staring at it and be like, that's not how you spell it, right? And it'll be right, but I'll constantly be second guessing whether it's spelled correctly.
Yeah.
Which I really can't decide.
I think I know.
I really can't decide. I think I know. That's the best.
I know we
I'm so excited.
Because I wrote for half an hour.
Yeah.
And yours was, I'm going to say a word.
But maybe Rosie just drew it really quickly. Nicola described it. That would have been so mean if I was like, draw the tattoo that Rosie would get.
Oh my God. And then if I got it right, you had to then get the tattoo.
Yes.
I'll be up for that.
And if you got it wrong, then you had to give her your okay Google.
Yes.
No.
No.
Yeah. That seems like a fair exchange.
I will also say that if that's the thing, if I get it right, you have to get it. I will say that the end of my answer is as a full sleeve. So
full sleeve. Is it a giant goose?
No.
Rosie, what did you say would be the tattoo you'd get?
Pig. Which I also realised I've come dressed as one as well today. I think I get a little piggy. Maybe above, maybe in the tramp stamp situation, get a pig.
Why a pig?
Oh, I love them. They're good fun. I like the shape of them. They're cute, and I'll always like a pig. I think till the day I die, I will like the pig.
I love that. Yeah, it's like a timeless tattoo.
Pigs are so timeless, and they're smart.
They are smart.
They love a truffle. So does Rosie. And they like a good roll in the mud.
So does Rosie.
So does Rosie.
Yeah.
They're sweet. They're really sweet. They take up a lot of room, but I think they're scared. They're a bit like, oh, I wish I wasn't taking up so much room, but I can't control this.
Oh.
I think they're very sweet, especially piglets and their curly little tails. Oh, and they're smelly bastards. I'll maybe get one just above my arsehole to just give the whole experience of a pig.
We were talking today about those people that there was a craze of people buying micro pigs.
Yes.
And then within weeks it turning into like full pot belly pigs, and people being like, my house. They thought they'd
My
wife. Just
Like,
the kids like tearing around on the backs of pigs.
Like, do some research. Come on.
Yeah.
Like, don't be surprised. And like, a pig is an animal you see from when you're a child. Like, you know the size of a pig. Don't pretend like you don't know it's gonna get bigger. Dumbass. Come on. You think it's gonna stay? It's like if people get like a Great Dane, and then as it keeps growing, they're like, "What? Like, come on, you know your pig is getting bigger than your mug." Like,
I just
come
thought this
on.
one was gonna be small.
Yeah.
The
I
Dane
thought
has
I
got
lucked
too
out.
great. I just asked for a Dane. Making a Dane.
And I got a great one. I wanted a crappy Dane. I wanted a
Imagine
shitty
if you
little
said-
Dane.
When things got too big, you said that they were too great. Oh, funny.
I would love that. Like, if it's like, "Oh, how are you doing during COVID?" "Oh, you know, I got greater. Like, I gained some weight. I got greater."
That makes sense. That makes sense to me. Like, I degrade it. But if you're like, "It's so big, it's great," like, oh no, maybe this isn't so funny as I thought. Or you get a big fat pig and you're like, "It's a great pig." Or you have a massive dinner and you're like, "It's a great dinner." Oh no, I should say dinner.
Like,
great.
instead of
So
a
you just
Great
mean,
Dane.
Yeah, so a Great Dane, you're like, it's massive. Like a Dane, a normal size would be a normal size
You
Dane.
just wanted to switch out the word fat or large
Yeah,
for the word
be great.
With great.
For
But I
body
mean,
positivity.
maybe a Great Dane, like maybe the great in Great Dane has nothing to do with its size. Maybe it's just they're great. Like, they're awesome.
Just like
It's just their pride.
solid.
Yeah, like an awesome Dane.
And when you're buying
Yeah.
plus size clothing, it's called great size clothing.
Yeah,
That would be
amazing.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like that would be great and great. Nicola, did you say that she would get a sleeve of pigs?
No, I wrote, our dog's head is a full sleeve or Bette Midler.
Just a stretched out dog? Or is it multiple dogs? Just one.
Now that I think about it, I would just want her one face stretched
Yeah.
across her whole arm.
Yeah.
Or Bette
Like-
Midler, I couldn't decide. I thought she might have written Bette Midler, so I wrote that as an emergency.
I would have both. Betty, Amber.
Bette Midler on one arm and then a Great Dane on the other, and then your asshole would be a pig, and you would be just walking around.
Love
town.
me.
Oh my god, I would love it. I want to get a tattoo. Let's just get tattoos internationally.
Yeah.
That's what
I
every
want,
tattoo
yeah.
I've got, and
So
there's
you
only
tattoo.
two, is I've got it with someone who I don't see every day, or even every month, or every year sometimes.
Oh, wait,
I
like
got
they
them,
got
like,
it. They got a
with another
matching tattoo.
Or like one tattoo, there were three of us and we got matching tattoos. It was Karen Parker and Ashley Como.
Oh,
So we've all got our lobsters. And then when I got my maple leaf, I went with Georgia Brown, and she got a little cup of tea.
Oh, I'm gonna cry.
Get them with
And I'm going to get a pig out my asshole.
I'm going to go on my own. I want this between me and the pig.
Bette Midler and a piggy.
Just bring a pig with you, and
Yeah.
just do
Put
it
this
together. Put the pig on me and put me on the pig, and they're just
Put the
like,
pig
"No,
on the pig.
get
If you get an
out."
idea for a tattoo, I'll get
Yeah.
it.
Okay, you too, but not a pig. I'll filter your ideas.
What about a
if I-
teeny goose?
A teeny goose.
Tiny goose. What we could have is on my
You
right
always
rib.
sounded British there. You went, a teeny goose.
Mary, but it's a teeny
A teeny goose. Sorry, I interrupted you.
I'll get one goose on my right rib facing outwards, and you get one on your left rib facing outwards.
And then they can kiss.
No kissing.
Well, why are you
No.
bobbing your neck like this? Like they're not going to move, Rosie. It's going to be stagnant goose.
But you can imagine it. You can imagine
Right.
it moving.
Should we get the goose to look like the goose in your video, If I Could Change My Body? Like it has boobs and hoofs for hands. Is that too
Yeah.
much?
It's actually a swan. They're very different. The
Oh,
meat's
it is a
very different.
swan. Oh,
Yeah.
thank God. Because you know what? Call out culture. Like I would be attacked. I would be. It just happened. You saw it
Like
here.
it.
Let's get a little, how about you get a goose, I'll get a swan, and then we'll be like, look, we got matching, and we'll just let people feel awkward about it. Like,
feel
you guys
absolutely
got the wrong,
ashamed for us.
yeah, you guys got the wrong birds.
Yeah, who's them fucking goose chicks?
I got a flamingo, she got an ostrich, they're the same. And they're like, what is wrong with you guys?
You have terrifying animals on your sides.
Yeah. Should we get a goose on one side and a swan on the other?
And a pig on the butthole still?
And a pig on our buttholes?
Well, I'll have the pig on the butthole and you clearly won't.
Right. Yeah, clearly.
So
I'll
be
say
the freak.
a pig will never go here. Like, I'll write that above my butthole.
I'd rather
no
the pigs, to be
pigs!
honest.
I think I'd
No
rather the pigs.
pigs.
No pigs. And then underneath my butthole, it'll just say in brackets, like, for context, look at Rosie Dempsey's butthole. So that they understand.
For context, check out my podcast, Liquid Courage. I'm Amanda Ferreira. Every week in the iTunes chart, it goes down 14 places.
And it has like the Instagram handle, like just right underneath. Oh my God, that would be so great. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if you think of one, I'll get a matching one. It just has to be, it has to be good.
Fine, it has to be fine.
Yeah. I don't like, yeah. I mean, animals, like, I don't know how much I'm resonating with the animal idea.
Yeah, also, of all the animals, a goose and a pig are slightly aggressive forms of animal. It's not like a lovely bird, like a swallow or a dainty little deer, a Bambi. It's an old pig and a gibbity goose.
I do really like, though, how you're saying, like, pigs, like, take up space.
Yeah, I think they're like, they don't realize how big they're going to be.
Right.
And then all of a sudden they're like, oh no, I didn't ask for this baby.
Like, I'm so great, and they don't know it. I'm so great.
Yeah, what the greatest pig there is.
When I was a kid, and I would be like in the car with my mom on the highway, and then I would see those trucks that had pigs in them. And one day I asked my mom where they're going, those little holes, and she like had to tell me like they're going to be like murdered. And she didn't say it like that. Orgy. I'm sure, yeah, they're going on vacation, but like she was honest but very caring in how she delivered it. But she told me that after that, every time I saw one of those trucks, I would just start bawling in the car. Like, I was so sad. I still am. I'm like, my God, guys, like, spray them with some water, like, give them some treats. Like, what are you doing in there? Anyway.
Are you vegetarian?
No.
Wait, last time I spoke to you, you were on doing different, like, cutting foods out of your diet.
Oh, because so I was having a bunch of random, seemingly unconnected medical issues, like a bunch of stuff. And I finally, when I went, they told me I was basically sensitive to a bunch of foods that I was eating like on a regular basis. So my body was like inflamed all the time. So there's some of those that I still can't have. So I couldn't have beef. I still can't have beef. Yeah. But no, and people assume I'm like, if I say that, people think I'm a vegetarian. I'm like, no, I love, sometimes I wish I could have some beef. But then I think my heart feels like I should be a vegetarian, like for the animals. And I just don't follow through, which is not admirable. Are either of you vegetarians or vegans? No,
but I don't generally eat that much meat.
Yeah.
Really. I don't. I could easily cut meat out of my life and not be affected. I mean, you still crave stuff like bacon and stuff, but I could definitely be vegetarian.
There are like good non-meat alternatives now, like fake meat alternatives. I feel like I should just transition to, but never.
Yeah,
but you just I don't know how sustainable that vegetarian like nuts farming and stuff like that. Like anything where the demand gets really big really fast, you're likely to fall in unsustainable stuff. So I get nervous of being like, I'll just drink almond milk, not really knowing enough about whether
there was something
the almond farmers are getting paid enough, or is this
week.
Good kinds of farming. So at least if you buy good meat, like from places that you trust, there's some kind of sustainability going on, I guess.
Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah. I mean, everything's difficult.
And
put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah, actually that weirdly ties into my last question for you guys, so I'm just gonna use it. Okay, so in your song that I feel like I've referenced a million times, Little Flo and Joan, you guys talk about advice that you're giving your younger selves. That is one of my favorite songs of yours. I legit cry whenever I cried on the TTC the other day listening to it. And like, I was fine. Even when I'm in like a very fine mental state, it's just so lovely. And so many of them resonate with me of the things that you're telling your younger self. So I'm curious for each of you, what pieces of advice in that song do you currently resonate with the most right now? That you would like want to tell your younger self right now? I'm realizing I'm making you remember all your lyrics.
I'm like now scanning the whole song in my head.
Yeah.
This is going to sound really sappy, but tell people that you love them.
Aww.
Because in the UK, I feel like people don't say that very often, or they say it like, love ya, or I'm like, you don't. Which could also be me being like, you fucking don't, stop being embarrassing. But like, until we lived in Toronto, I didn't hear people say it like genuinely. And so they'd say, I remember I still feel bad to this day, in my first year of uni, we'd gone on like a big night out at the beginning of uni and everyone was drunk. And we came home and my roommate, who was still a friend of mine, said, I love you. And I said, thank you, and walked away. Because I was like, no one says this. What is this? And also at the time I was like, I don't know you and I don't love you. No, as in like, not I don't like you, but I was like, it was just a word that there were words that I don't say at that time, didn't say to people. So it felt like a really weird thing where I was like, well, I'm not going to say this back to you. I don't believe it right now.
Yeah.
And like, also so often you see people like saying like, love ya, or I'm like, no, you don't. Whereas like I met people and it could also just be like a thing of being an adult where you're older and you're less embarrassed to say those things to people that you genuinely love or whatever. But like, I just hadn't said it or heard it in like a genuine, sincere way where I'm like, oh no, I do want to tell that person that I love them. But it also took me until I was like 26, 27 to actually say it to someone. I don't think I even said it to my mum at any point, which is so like, because you're just like, well, obviously I do, so I don't need to say it. But also it's so nice to say it to people, and also for people to say it to you, that if you mean it, then I feel like that's a thing. And also probably stop eating pepperonis, but the love thing
that's a beautiful one.
It was also the first lyric that I remembered. I was like, yeah, that one. I actually can't remember most of the song, but definitely that is now as an adult, I'm like, oh, that one. And also, yeah, say it to people that you genuinely mean it, and you don't have to say it to people when you're like, I don't, but see you tomorrow or whatever. I think
I so respect that you were like, thank you, like that you honored what I love you means, and you were like, no, like that's a legit thing, so thank you, but I don't feel that back, and I'm not just gonna like say it for shits and giggles. Like, no.
I mean, it was also for sure coming from like the single most awkward place in the world, where I Homer Simpson backed into a hedge and was like, thank you so much for your time, goodbye.
Thank you.
Which is like me with everyone, but like, yeah, definitely at that moment I was like, I don't. In the same way that now as an adult, when people are like, we should hang out, I'm like, I don't want to, and so I don't.
So if people say we should hang out and you don't want to, will you say like, yeah? Well, what do you say back?
I say yeah, and then assume that it's never going to happen, and then when it does, I probably just go to them and then speak to them again.
You just go into the bush again. Oh, bye. Oh, Rosie, what would you say is advice that resonates now that you'd want to give your younger self?
I think mine is the I'm trying to think of it. Don't hang out with the cool kids. What's after that? Don't hang out with the cool kids.
Find something with the weirdos.
Find a corner with the weirdos. Yeah, I feel like I was a weirdo as a kid, but I wasn't weird enough. I always like controlled my weirdness.
You were definitely in a cool group at school.
Yeah, I was. I think it was just something about school that I was just desperate to not get bullied, and I was desperate to just not be liked. I liked being liked. I've got better with not being liked now. Well, I do quite a lot of stuff now to make people really not like me. I'm actively make people not like me, but
like tattooing a pig on your asshole.
Yeah, that's for sure gonna make someone not want to share a bed with me. But that's okay. Well, it's also a natural thing for humans just to want to be liked, like everyone. Well, not everyone, but most people are like that. But definitely at our school, it just always felt important to not be like a loser, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But I wish I just like grew into the weird a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
I was always like, I remember at primary school always being like doing silly dances and singing songs and like being doopy. But then when you get into your teenagers, you just want to look like everyone else. Well, I wanted to look like everyone else. I didn't want to look different. And I played sports, and that had like, I really enjoyed sports, but that also had a crossover with at our school. If you were good at sports, you were also cool. Like, I don't know why, that was just a pattern that happened. So I like grew into those group. I was still always like the fun. I was the person making everyone laugh on the side, but still it was like so important to me to make sure I was in the cool groups. And I wish I just didn't need to do that, and I think I'd be way more easy to get along with if I didn't if I hadn't like restrained myself for that. I mean, I still have that weird part of me, like I don't think I ever lost that, but definitely if I was more of a nerd, I think I'd be happier. Would have been happier, I think. Not said, I had a great childhood, but
with all due respect, I had a great childhood.
It just, do you know what I mean? Like, it just brings, like, you're looking at magazines and thinking, oh, I've got to look like Lauren from the Hills. Let's go then. Let's go to Billabong and buy some surf clothes and look fine, fit in, you know. But 100%. I also, you enjoy that as well, because that's part of growing up, and that's just your hormones being like, be a nice girl and not dress like a crazy person. But there's probably part of me that if I dressed like a crazy person, I might have like maybe not followed the crowd as much as I did. But
I was so jealous. I was like, when I was growing up, I was so jealous of the kids who would hang out with who other people would say, oh, they're weirdos. I was so jealous of them and their willingness to be themselves, even if other people didn't think it was cool. Because I was the same. I was like, oh my God, I wanted everyone to think like, you're okay. And I wanted people to like me. And I also wanted like my family to think, I'm good. Like, you don't need to worry about me. Look, I'm friends with the cool kids. I'm good. Like, don't worry. Yeah. And then at school, I think because I beat myself up for the same thing of just like, God, why didn't I just be more myself when I was younger, and like, who cares who liked you and who not? But it's so easy to say that retrospectively. And then it's harder to look at a 12-year-old kid and be like, why do you give a shit what people think? Like, they're 12. Of course they care.
Of course,
it's like survival at that point.
It is.
Yeah, totally.
You're just trying not to get bullied. That's literally the task of school, is just don't get thrown into a bin.
And even the kids desperately trying not to get bullied are still getting bullied.
Bullied.
Like, none of us stand a fucking chance.
No, so it's like, my God, even if I'm trying this hard to be the same as all of you, I'm still getting bullied. Oh, okay, well, I can't risk being even more. But yeah, definitely, you know, I'm jealous of the people who grew into themselves a little earlier than I did, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
God, that's just cool that they could just be themselves at like 13.
Yeah.
Like, nice. Yeah.
Definitely. But you can only think retrospectively.
Yeah. And then you just do your best. You move forward. You get tattoos when you want to. You just fly now.
I feel like I was thinking about this the other day of like how I feel like everyone does it, but then like when I have children, I'm going to tell them these things, because I feel like my parents never told me these things, which would have allowed me to like succeed, or I would have avoided like looking like this or dressing like this or whatever. And then when you like, and I remember I was talking to my mum about it, and she was like, for me, I used to wear like really thick eyeliner, massive trousers. None of the clothes that I wore were flattering, fit me. Like my hair was long, but like straightening irons weren't in, so I looked like Ugly Betty, but it was really long. And like, where you're just and then you look at pictures and you're like, why didn't no one tell me I looked like this? And my mum was like, I told you. You're like 13 or 14 and you just don't want to hear it. Like you're never going to listen to that kind of shit. And so it must just get to a point where you're like, okay, like I'll comfort you when shit goes wrong, or like I'll help you with that kind of stuff, or like my mum let me get my eyebrows plucked when I was 16, like those kind of things where you kind of like, you wait for them to come to you. But yeah, I feel like you can't tell kids anything, which I even saying that, I'm like, I'm 90, nice to meet you. Like, you can't tell the youth anything, but like, you genuinely can't. And I think like, there's no, you can't help teenagers.
Yeah, there's also something really cool about allowing kids to make the choice, be like, I'm wearing dark eyeliner because I think it's cool and I love it, and I love grunge music, so this fits the vibe. If you're like, take that thing off, then your child is told that what they've done, like the choice that they've made, is wrong. And that's only going to affect a child to be like, oh shit, I'm doing stuff wrong. But if you're like, if they've got awful eyeliner on, you're like, rock it, you made that choice, go and live that life, and you're going to grow old and realize that you probably didn't look that great. But at least like, it could be like, oh, I still love eyeliner, but I now know how to look in the mirror and do it properly because I've learned not to be cack-handed. Yeah, as soon as you tell a kid what to do, I think, apart like in terms of like looks or like vulnerable things, then you might send, like, it was good that mum wasn't like, take it off right now. Yeah, she was like, you deal with that. Go out and enjoy that. Yeah.
Well, and often too, I feel like, so if I was like, yeah, you know, I wish that I just hung out with people that I resonated with more versus like trying to assimilate with the cool kids. I feel like if I told my kids that, they would do that, but there would be some other problem that popped up that they wish I told them about, and then they would tell their kid that, and their kid would probably end up with my problem. Like, it's just, we keep telling, like, generational just tell from the other side of the coin. And it's like, well, they're not growing up the same way I did, so my advice, they're coming from a different like different context that sometimes I'm like, be more confident, and then my kid will be a jerk, so then they'll have to tell their kid, hey, be considerate, and then they'll have to tell their kid, be more confident. You're like, oh, this is just a flip-flop anyway. So
man, if you can just keep your child alive, then I respect a parent, because I can't guarantee that's gonna happen for me.
We like got asked by our school last year, the year before, to like do a speech to the school, like to the like 16, 17, 18-year-olds who were like collecting their exam certificates. And the kids firstly were like, I don't know or care who you are. They didn't want to be there.
Perfect.
And like, you can like, we're like, at the time we were both under 30, consider ourselves young, but they're like 16 and like, who are these fucking old bitches like talking at us? And we were trying to be like chill about it, and like, you don't have to go to university if you don't want to go to university. It costs a lot of money. It's not for everyone. Like, we were trying to be like, I fucked this up and I corrected it this way, or like, you don't have to do all these things. And they were all just sat like so miserable, didn't want to be there. Their parents were also like, stop telling our children to not go to university when we've just spent like 3 years prepping them to go to university. All the teachers were angry that we were also like, exams don't matter if they're not for you, fuck college and go somewhere. Like it was just, and it was for not for like nothing, but like, we thought we were being like telling the truth to the kids and like trying to be honest with them. I stand by the advice, but like telling a 16 to 18-year-old anything, they're like, fuck you, I don't know who you are you on TikTok? No, goodbye.
Like, you're like, we're being new and edgy and modern, and they're like, you're old. And you're like, great.
Like, we're comedians, it's cool. And they're like, I've literally never heard of you, but have you seen this video of a dog falling down the stairs? Like, okay, respect.
There's never been more truth said just there. You're like, well, I just spent a year crafting this album and it's amazing. And they're like, oh, did you see this baby fall on a couch? And you're like, I did. I'm done. Oh my God. Okay, well, I have kept you way past time. Thank you so much, Rosie and Nicola, for doing this with me today. It's been so nice, like, also just catching up with you. As soon as we started talking, I was like, oh, this episode's going to be longer, because I also I just love you guys. And
we have a whole free night. You're not keeping us from anything.
Fabulous.
Also, do you remember at Christmas when at Nicola's birthday, and you were like, I've got this, I kind of want to do this podcast where I like chat to people, and you were like, I just don't know, and I was like, Amanda, go and do it. And then in 2020 you were like, I'm doing a podcast called Lick Your Courage, and I was like, yes, you did it. So nice. You're like, I'm so nervous to do it, I don't know if people listen, blah blah blah, and I was like, just fucking do it. Not that I made you do it, but me being like, do whatever you want, and then you actually doing it was lovely.
But it does really, moments like that, like, yeah, like talking to you and you being like, yeah, just go do it. Those are moments where when I'm like, no, maybe not. And I had planned to do it. And then everyone went into quarantine and I really was like, does this even matter? And I wasn't going to do it for a while. And it's moments like that, thinking back to talking to people who like, I respect them as people and I respect their opinion and their
You shouldn't
opinion,
respect
like,
us, by the way.
well,
Yeah.
I mean, I've lost respect now, but like in the beginning, at Christmas, I really respected you, but 2020 has shed a whole new light. And
that's the general vibe for most people with us.
Yeah.
Really.
I was actually thinking of your song about 2016, how it was like such a nightmare. And I was like, guys, you didn't even know 2020 was coming. Like, oh.
Every year we get a couple people floating from somewhere being like, you should write a 2017 song. You should write a 2018 song.
Oh.
You're like, guys, it's not getting any better. Like, no.
Yeah. Oh my God, so funny. Well, I really appreciate you saying that. And it's because it's very much because of moments like that where I think back and I'm like, no, but they said do it. So like, I could just fucking do it. Like, it took a long time. I've been trying to make this happen for years. And most of trying to make it happen is like just me being like, should I do it? Nah. Yeah. And then just sitting on it for months. So
we're the same. Don't worry. We're the same.
Oh, with everything.
We've got like 10 things that we said we were going to do and still haven't done them. Like big things as well, like big projects. Not just like, oh, we should take the bins out. Things that we're like, we should actually write this thing. We still haven't done them. From fear, mostly from fear.
Yeah, it is. But I do think like I'm finding like just committing to it, like just taking that first, this sounds so, I'm going to use your word wanky, but like taking that first step, then I find, well, then you kind of can't be afraid anymore because you just have to fucking do it. Because you already pitched the idea or you already booked your first guest or you already did this thing. So like, that's the hardest part. And then once you lock yourself in, you're like, yeah, I'm fucking terrified. I'm going to piss my pants, but I don't have time. So pee my pants and keep going. Like,
and also when you're like, you've got the first guest and you've released the first episode, you're like, well, I've told everyone about it now. So
yeah,
I kind of just have to, you can't like do one episode and be like, thank you so much for your time, blah, 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 blah.
No. Like, I'm like, nope, I committed 30 episodes. I released this. Okay. It's got to happen. Like I said, it was weekly, but doing that I think helps. Like, yeah, just doing that first step of like, okay, we want to do this show. I'm just going to pitch the show. And then then basically fuck yourself over. Then you're screwed. You have to do it. And then that is so helpful.
And also are you surprised by how many people have said yes to you?
Yeah, like I haven't had anyone say no, which is surprising.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think what's even more surprising, honestly, is, and part of this is because I started releasing episodes all during COVID. So it's like been very insular, like in a bubble. Mm-hmm. It's surprising to me when anyone messages me and saying that they listen to it. And I don't mean because I don't think it's a fabulous thing to listen to. It's just, it feels like I'm just creating it and sending it out. Like I'm not out in the world. So yeah, anyone saying, oh, I've been listening to every episode or I really like this. It's like, oh my God, this exists outside of my computer.
Yeah. I've been like listening to it on my daily COVID walks of like, I can get 2 walks in on an episode.
I don't like you, so I haven't.
Rosie was like, I knew Christmas. You talked to me about it at Christmas. I lied to you. I was just taking up time while you were there because everyone was friends and you're like, I just need a time filler. Yeah.
When we were inviting you to drinks, it was Nicola who was sending the messages.
Yeah, sorry about that.
But no, Nicola, you were one of those people who reached out and were like, I've been listening to this. And it meant so much. Like, it's so,
you also like, you don't want to be a ham about it and be like, look like a suck up. But like, it was genuinely like, and also like every person I've listened to, there's like, been something in it where I want to email them to be like, email lol. I want to send them a fax and I want to send my fucking carrier swan over to them with a parcel in their mouth and a series of Scrabble tiles to put together. But like to be like, you said this thing and like it was just a cool that you want to contact the people, but you also like you don't want to then say that to someone where they're like, I don't know, I was just talking where you're like, okay, well, have a nice time. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you don't want to be over the top about it, but also like, it's fucking cool. And it was just like, a really nice thing to listen to. Aww. And also like twinged with, I just like listening to anyone from Toronto do anything. So you're like, oh, that's that person talking about this thing that I like is like a bonus anyway, but yeah.
I totally encourage you to reach out to those people because, and I mean, this is just your decision, but I think people will remember what they say a little bit more than you think. Mm-hmm. I think also I feel, and also I just think it's nice. I don't think it's a ham. You're both of you are like very authentic people. You're not people who just like, listen, Nicola, you don't tell anyone that you love them unless you love them. So like, I don't think people are thinking you're sending them messages being fake or being hammy, but it's nice. I was on I was a guest on one podcast where someone messaged me after and said, oh, you said this thing. And like, I've always felt weird about it. And I felt alone. And then you said you think that way too. And it made me feel so nice. And I was like, oh my God. Like it felt, I actually think you'll make people feel really good in like a nice way. But anyway, if you don't do it, you don't do it. And that's fine. And if you were a guest on this podcast and you haven't heard from Nicola, then you're not interested.
It was a personal attack and I actually found your episode really boring. I don't love any of you.
She skipped all the way through all of them.
I'll tell everyone that's listening to it up to this point, I've said I love you to one person and you can guess who it is. It will be in your Instagram DMs.
Yeah, the answer is on our Patreon.
I'm going to make this Patreon for you.
I know, I
don't want to make it for you, but I wanted to survive.
Yeah, don't offer. Should we just get a tattoo of like, I have a Patreon?
Yes.
Okay, her eyes are saying no.
Yes.
Sure.
Like twice.
SOS. Oh my God. Okay, well, I love you guys. I could talk to you forever. I love you so much. Oh my God, I just realized I'm saying I love you.
Oh man,
but I mean it. But it wasn't planned. I just realized
back out of friendship.
We mean it.
But I do mean it. I do love both of you and I adore both of you and cherish you guys. And I'm so excited to listen to new songs. And if you ever record boys, I want to buy it because I love
my boys, my boys. I love my boys, I love my boys, 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 my sweet little boys. Oh, my boys.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Liquid Courage podcast. If you liked what you heard, please help me out by leaving a rating or a comment on your Apple Podcast app or on YouTube or wherever you might be listening from. And if you're like me and you have an awful memory, or you just don't want to have to remember when the next episode comes out, hit that subscribe button and the newest episode will automatically download for you. Just like magic. I love it. You can also follow the podcast on Instagram at Liquid Courage Podcast and on Twitter at Liquid C Podcast. And if you're still listening, I want to remind you that a pandemic is still taking place. And I don't say that to be a buzzkill or to scare you, but to ask you to please, please continue or start wearing your mask when you're out of your house and around other people. We should be treating people how we want to be treated. And if you want to be safe and healthy, respect the health and safety of the people around you. Please. Thanks again for listening. It means the world to me. Stay safe and take care.